This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
You are listening to the Flagship Podcast with your hosts, Joe Lanza.
You've told me like 4 times. I can hear you breathing. Stop breathing.
I don't think I said stop breathing. To be honest, I did not say stop breathing.
Rich asked me to stop breathing.
I wouldn't be the first person in the wrestling world to tell you to stop breathing.
And after this show, you won't be the last.
And Rich Crage.
Joe, are you ready for roadblock end of the line?
Roadblock end of the line.
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 Roadblock end of the line. Roadblock end of the line. Roadblock end of the line. Roadblock end of the line.
Roadblock end of the line. Roadblock end of the line. Roadblock end of the line. Roadblock end of the line. Roadblock end of the line. Roadblock end of the line. Roadblock end of the line. Roadblock end of the line. Roadblock end of the line.
Roadblock end of the line. Roadblock end of the line seems to have some buzz. There's a lot of buzz for roadblock end of the line.
It really does.
And we are live here on the Flagship Podcast. I'm Rich. He's Joe. Joe, what's happening?
I think Aaron Donald just sacked Joe Burrow again. It's
Hell of a
incredible.
game. Hell of a game for your Los Angeles Rams. That was fun.
This Bengals offensive line, I mean, they can't block me, but yeah, I mean, Super Bowl champs. I didn't mean to come in strong burying the Bengals.
Nah, they deserve it. They deserve it.
I will tell you this. I will say this. By kickoff, I was sick and tired of Joe Burrow.
Joe Cool.
Not because of
Joe Cool number 2. Yeah, we played a drinking game at the party I was at, where anytime they mentioned Joe Cool or talked about Joe Namath or likened him to Joe Montana, anytime Joe Burrow got compared to like a legendary quarterback or Joe Namath, or they called him Joe Cool, we drank. And yeah, it made for quite a fun night.
Yeah, I mean, and not because of anything Joe Burrow has ever done or said, just because, my God, maybe, okay, you're not only a neutral observer, but you're also someone who doesn't even care about the NFL. So you're the perfect person to ask, because I come from the perspective of I'm emotionally invested in the game, and I'm emotionally invested in the Rams winning the game. So things are probably going to annoy me more. But I had the idea going into this game, especially the final hours going into the game, that the national media wanted nothing more than to crown Joe Burrow at the end of the night. I mean, was it just me, or that's the feeling I had? By kickoff, I was so sick of Joe Burrow, and I wanted that man to lose so badly, not just because I was rooting for the Rams, but because I felt like the national media could not wait to crown him. Did you get that sense?
No, I didn't get it as much as you did. It was clear that they were obviously like totally fine with him winning, and they would have been very, very okay with him winning. I don't know if I quite got the same vibe that you got, and I get that. Like
I thought that was the heaviest narrative that they were pushing.
Yeah, you're probably not totally off base with that. I didn't watch a ton of like the pregame stuff. I didn't watch a ton of like, you know, talking heads talking before the show or before the game and all the weekend or whatever. So I guess I may have missed some of that, but it did. I mean, they were pretty heavy with it. It's like, I don't think that they would be upset if he won. I think they were probably hoping that he won. I don't know if maybe, but I totally get when you're like against that team. I have it all the time. I'm a White Sox fan, for God's sakes. And anytime the White Sox are in a big tight situation, it's like almost always they're trying to make the other team feel, okay, well, we don't want these guys to win because they're the second team in Chicago, so let's talk about this team or that team, all that sort of stuff. I mean, God, you talk about, you know, the White Sox face the Red Sox in the playoffs, and I'll never forget this. And there are people in the No Dubs chat room that are listening live that know that, like, we were on a White Sox message board at this time, and like we all lost our minds where the White Sox beats the Red Sox in the first round, the divisional round or whatever, of the 2005 playoffs, and Chris Berman, when the White Sox won, I should say, he goes, "Oh, the Red Sox, they're not going to repeat," and he's just like on the air crying about the Red. I'm like, motherfucker, my team just won. Like, shut up about the damn Red Sox. Like, oh, the quest to repeat. Yeah. Oh, the Red Sox. Oh, what an emotional moment for the Red Sox. I'm like, motherfucker, my team just won. Like, no, screw the Red Sox.
They make it more about the team that lost than the team that won.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Which I didn't get that sense after this game. I think, you know, once the Rams won the game, the Rams got all their flowers. But I really, and let's be honest, Burrow did nothing in the game. I mean, he did. If the Bengals would have won, I'm not even sure he would have won MVP. Like, he did nothing in the game. He threw the long touchdown pass to open the second half, which was a blatant face mask, which blatant no call, with Jalen Ramsey getting thrown to the ground.
I kind of wish, part of me, and again, I don't watch football much anymore, but part of me was like, man, if they made that play legal, I might watch football a lot more. I like the idea. You just sprint downfield, you just decide, you know what? Nope, you're going to the ground, man. Just grab the guy's face mask, tackle him to the ground, catch the pass, score. I like that. I think they should institute that in the NFL moving forward. If you don't want it, if you don't want to get face mask and thrown to the ground, then throw no more, basically take out interference. I want no more pass interference. Is that okay? NFL blitz style. I'm down.
And then outside of that, I mean, he had the nice pass down the sideline to Chase in the first quarter. That's like the only play he made. I thought he was clearly shook in the first quarter, a little nervous. He had a couple of overthrows. And then he gets the ball back with 1:30 and 2 timeouts. And they've got like the second best or the best kicker in the world. And he didn't get him in the field goal range. I mean,
I don't watch much football these days, but I was pretty perplexed, and everybody that I was watching with was pretty perplexed that 4th and 1 with 2 timeouts, game on the line, you go shotgun, just get sacked immediately. Like, of course you would always get sacked. Like, he didn't get sacked. He like tossed it up in the air, whatever it was. For all intents and purposes, his ass was sacked. Any other situation in the game, he's just sitting down and eating that sack. But he was like, if I toss it up, maybe somebody will get it.
No, it was 4th down, so he was just trying to.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it was like hike. A guy was already there. He fell over, then he kind of tossed the ball up in the air, and I'm like, well, that's one way to lose the Super Bowl, I guess. So,
well, not just a guy, the greatest defensive player to ever live, but. And I could say that this week. Look, you could argue with me next week. You could argue with me next month. But, you got to let the Rams fans puff out their chest this week. And Donald's actually in that conversation, in all honesty. But, no, I mean, that's a good example of Rich having not followed the NFL for, like, the last 10 years. Because anyone who watches the NFL on a week-in, week-out basis is not shocked by 4th and 1, empty shotgun.
With the Super Bowl on the line, though.
Yeah,
I think that's a little different when the goddamn Super Bowl's on the line and you got a really great kicker, right? Like, I feel like I haven't I know I haven't watched in a couple of years, but geez, that seems like an easy, play. But all right,
I'm not even disagreeing with you. Just get the damn first down. But that's how these teams play now. Yeah. I'm going to give you an analogy. It would be like It'd be like an NBA fan going into a coma in 1995, and they wake up tomorrow and they're like, a team took 43s?
Right.
What? Like, could you imagine that? Like, if someone, if Dr. Jack Ramsey came back from the dead and watched a Warriors game next week, he'd be aghast at what he was watching. You know what I mean? That's like you dropping in for the Super Bowl and seeing a team go empty backfield shotgun on 4th and 1 with their season on the line.
And 2 timeouts.
Yeah. And they go 3rd and 1, they go shotgun 2 plays in a row. Listen, Rich, I'm with you. I go double tight end and I run the ball behind my best offensive lineman, which might be a task to figure out who that is on Cincinnati. But I would run the ball behind my best offensive lineman with double tight end twice and just get the damn first down.
Right. And then figure out from there.
2 timeouts. Then put Burrow in shotgun and let him be Burrow, right? I got no problem with that because then you only need 10 more yards and your big dick kicker is going to tie the game because that guy doesn't miss. But that's just how they play now. Like, I didn't even think about that until I saw you put that in our Slack.
Right.
Because I turn my phone. Maybe the flagship listeners might not know this, but the NFL Intelligentsia listeners know I drop off the planet when these games are on. I turn my phone off. I turn everything off. So I'm gone. I come back after the game and I'm just reading through the messages in our Slack with, seeing how the game unfolded. And I see Rich here and I just laughed out loud because I'm like, this is a man who just doesn't watch the modern
I've just been
NFL.
uniced. I'm a man from a decade ago that's been uniced and watched football again and went, what in the world? What has happened to my game, Joe? What has happened to my game? So
look, I think it's stupid too.
Yeah, we remarked, and we'll talk about this, I think, a little bit more. I think next week is going to be our 10th anniversary special. We'll figure that out when exactly we're going to do it. But it would line up pretty well with the Observer Awards coming out. But, we'll talk a lot about how the show began, and the show began, obviously, we mentioned this before, on the Madden Mania boards, the Madden video game message board that you and I met on, and I remarked that doing what the Bengals do or what every team does now would get you thrown out of a Madden league in 2003. Yes. If you went shotgun 4th and 1 with 2 timeouts in the 4th quarter, the game would end, and then whoever you faced would go to the message board and say, "Hey, everybody, I just want to let you know that Zach Taylor 69 is out there doing 4th and 1 with 2 timeouts, doing empty backfield shotguns," and that man would be thrown out of the league, and somebody else would be running the Bengals next week. They would ask, "Okay, well, he's been cheesing, so he's out. Does anybody want to run the Bengals now?" So it would get you thrown out immediately.
There's about 15 coaches in the league who just don't punt or kick field goals anymore. It's just a 4th and 1, you go for it. These young guys who follow the analytics, and a lot of it is, we're still learning in football. We're still learning the analytics. I think a lot of it is probably going to change and evolve. But there's coaches in the league who are just, and again, that it just, when you were following the NFL, it wasn't like that at all. Like, these were just no-brainer punt or field goal situations. And now it's, you remember when in the NFL, like, coaches were ultra super conservative because if they didn't kick on 4th down, they didn't want to hear shit from the media if they didn't make it down, right? Now it's the opposite. Like, coaches feel pressure to go for it.
Now if they punt, it's like, "Oh, you pussy, what are you doing?"
Yes, because then all the bots, all the analytic guys, and all the
give
bots,
some win probabilities. Oh, they lessened their win probability by 15% with that punt. Oh, what dorks! Yeah.
And it's never even 15%. It's always
it's like 0.1%.
I'm dead serious. It'll be like 1.8% or 2.1%. And they'll rip these coaches for not trying to take advantage of those kind of margins. And it's like, those aren't even good margins. You know what I mean? Like, they're not even good margins. Like, 15% would be a good margin. 1% is not a good margin. But yeah, it's a completely different game than you remember. And I guess that final drive hammered that home for you. But look, it's been 22 years. Got another Super Bowl win. So
that makes me pretty. God, that's one of those moments that makes me feel really old because we were at the party and there was a few people that hadn't watched the football in a while or really watched it all, and they're like, "Hey, what team do you want to win?" And I'm like, I don't really care. I'm like, whatever. I'm like, yeah, the Bengals, they've never won. And the Rams, they won not that long ago. So I guess, either team is fine. And then someone said, wasn't it in 1999? I said, yeah, not that. Oh, God. It's one of those moments where you're like, oh, right. That was 22 years ago. Right. Because I'm thinking, the Rams, it hasn't been that long for the Rams. And it's been, there are many of the 125 million or whoever watched it were not alive when the Rams last won their Super Bowl.
Let me ask you this, and then we'll do actual wrestling. I was thinking about
there's not that much wrestling to talk about, so I think we're fine. Yeah, do whatever you're gonna do. Oh, Cody did leave AEW, so I guess we should talk about that at some point. But whatever. We'll get to it.
Third hour stuff. Listen, so I was thinking about this week. You know how we always complain that Boston sports fans are big whiny piss babies because they've got
absolutely, yes,
a million.
I'm here for that. Are we bashing Boston piss babies? I'm in. Let's do it.
And, they've won 1 million titles in every sport. Like, if you're a Boston sports fan under 40, you've known nothing your life except all 4 of your teams just constantly winning championships or being in the mix.
Yeah, right. Because I come from it. Like, I don't even know the NHL. I don't even count like the Bruins, but the Bruins have won a bunch recently too, right?
Yeah, they've won too. Like,
they won in 20. I think they won like 2 years ago or last year, right? Like, I think they've won like 4 or 5 times this decade, or the last decade, I should say, in the last 15 years or whatever.
And then you got Yankee fans and Duke fans. It's like, the Yankees haven't won since 2009, but if you're an adult Yankee fan, you've had plenty of winning. Okay, so my point here is, how we talk about like these spoiled fan bases that they have no right to whine or complain about sports anymore because they've seen plenty of winning. Well, I was thinking about this week. As a Rams fan, do I have to keep my mouth shut? So let me propose this to you.
I think I've
seen 4 Super Bowls in the last 22 years. I've won 2 of them. I've lost 2 of them, but we've been in 4. Okay. Now there was that 1 decade there were 2 decades in there that were brutal. Like some of the worst you'll ever see. But 4 Super Bowls in 22 years. If you're a Rams fan and you are 35 or younger, you vividly remember 4 Super Bowls and 2 Super Bowl wins because you were 12 in 1999. You can even push it. Even if you were like a 30-year-old Rams fan. You know what I mean? So it's like, and if you're like a 55-year-old Rams fan, you remember 5 Super Bowls because of the 1978 Super Bowl. So my question to you, Rich Craich, again as a neutral observer, have I lost all right to complain about my football team for like the next decade?
I think you're kind of done for a while. Yeah, because people get that way with me where I complain, I'll bitch and moan about the Bulls or whatever, and they're like, yeah. I mean, you lived through the Jordan years. I'm like, I know, but like, I want the team to be good now. And they're like, no, you lived through, your team won 6 titles, in a decade. I'm like, yeah. All right, yeah, I guess you're right. That's fine.
Has the clock run up on the Bulls title?
I wanted to ask you if that's because I would like to think that it has. I mean, we're talking 1998, so you would. I mean, it's right around the same time of the Rams is the last Bulls run.
I would
so
say
it's up to you. What do you think? And we have not been back since, Joe, or that close since then.
But you saw 6. I saw 2. You went 6-0.
I don't know if I really count the first 3 though. I was very young during the first 3.
I would say this: if you're younger than you are and you're a Bulls fan, they can complain. How about that?
Fair. Okay, that's fair.
A Bulls fan younger than you, they haven't seen much. They haven't seen much winning at all. You are getting close to where you can start complaining again. Is that fair?
Yes, that's fair. Yeah, White Sox, I think I'm getting pretty close. 05, obviously, when they won the title. It's not that long ago.
But here's the thing. It's 05 and not much else.
Yeah, it's 05 and then 1917, so I think I'm allowed to complain.
Yeah.
A team that this year made the playoffs for the first time ever in back-to-back seasons. So,
But I, as an adult, have witnessed.
You're done. I think you're done for a little while, man. Yeah, you got to ride this high for a bit. And they're an LA team, and I know you're not an LA guy, like you're not an LA sports fan, you're a Rams fan, but it's gonna come across a little whiny if you're like, oh man, like, because LA's done pretty well. Even though I know that you're not an LA fan, but people might perceive it as, well, if you're a Rams fan, you're also a Dodgers fan and a Lakers fan and yada yada, all that sort of stuff,
Yeah, if you're an LA sports fan, you need to be quiet. You
for a very long time.
Dodgers, Rams, come on, you're spoiled. But see, yeah, I think so. How long do I have to go before I could start? I don't even want to, I'm not that kind of fan. I'm not that kind of fan anyway. But how long would an adult Rams fan have to go before they can reasonably complain without someone saying, go fuck yourself?
I think you got to get about, I would say 6 to 10 years would be my time, I think. At least 5. You at least have a 5-year window of just like, whatever. You know what I mean? That's fine. Yeah, I don't know. I think you're going to at least have to wait about somewhere. I think about 10 years is probably safe.
Does having the worst record in the league in the 2010s help or hurt my argument? Because they were brutal.
It does. It helps. It helps. And it could get that way again. It could get that way again very soon. So
it's 4 Super Bowls, but there was 2, a pile of shit, and then 2 more. It's not like we're not the Packers where we're in the playoffs every year. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's a tricky one. But I listen. They can go 6-11. I was going to say 6-10 out of habit. They can go 6-11 next year. The 17-game thing too, Rich. You don't follow the sport.
I know. It enrages me.
You have the win and loss totals drilled into your head your whole life, and now you have to add the extra game. We go 6-11 next year. I can't say anything. I know that. But I was just wondering if now I'm one of those. Am I a Boston? Am I a Boston?
You're not quite to them. No. Well, no. You would be if you then start complaining. If they go 6-10 and you're like, or goddamn 6-11, and you start
this
going,
fucking franchise.
Yeah, right. We need some change here. What's going on? Yeah. You know what I mean? Because that's how they are. They're like, we lost.
Sack the manager.
Right.
Like the soccer fans. Sack the manager. No. Yeah. All right. I was just wondering. I think the Rams have reached a point where you
got to ride a high for a little bit here. Yeah, you got to enjoy it too. You know what I mean? And that's, I think, the thing that's key with sports fandoms is just enjoy it. And we're that's how we are. We're not that way with wrestling because all we do is bitch and moan and complain about wrestling. But with sports, we are very much, and I try to be. And I've now that I've gotten older, I've kind of been more of the just appreciate the ride type of thing. You know what I mean? Where because I remember when the White Sox won in 05 and then they didn't make the playoffs in 06 or whatever. And I was just like, oh my God, just bitching and moaning. They won 90 games and missed the playoffs. And then 07, they were bad. And it was just like, and I got all upset about it. And like pretty much immediately thereafter, I was already upset and annoyed and angry or whatever. And you got to enjoy those because they don't come all the time. They come few and far between, unless you're a Boston fan, then they just come all the goddamn time. But they're few and far between. So you should just enjoy it. Enjoy the ride for a little bit.
Hey, listen, it could be the last one of my life.
Yeah,
easily.
Yeah, so enjoy it. Don't get upset about it.
That's the thing. You gotta be pragmatic about it. My bar for any of my teams is make the postseason. If you make the postseason, I that means I had a good time watching all year. Just make anything after that's gravy. Titles are great. Don't get me wrong, You know, 1990 for the Reds. Been a long time, Rich.
Been
a long time,
man. They haven't even sniffed a World Series, right? Like that
90,
last run would have been those Votto years, but even then they weren't like
95.
They weren't on the precipice of making the World Series either, right?
95 they lost the NLCS to the Braves. 94 they were in first place and that got wiped out.
I know that feeling. So
no, they haven't won a playoff series since 95. They haven't won a playoff game since they were 2 up on the Giants in 2012 and lost the last 3. That they haven't won a playoff game. So yeah, it's been pretty lean from that standpoint. That's why, like you're saying, when you see one,
you should really enjoy it. Yeah.
It might be. Look, my brother's a Lions fan.
Oh God,
you know what I mean?
Why? Well, don't do that though. Just don't be a Lions fan.
You can't help it when you're a kid and that's what you take up.
Why did he choose? Why did he choose the Lions? I know he didn't. He wasn't alive during the Barry Sanders years. So why the hell did he choose? Or he wasn't like the age that I'm talking about that he chose the Lions. I get it if you were like a kid in 1994 and you're like, well, Barry Sanders rules. This is pre-Barry Sanders. Why would you choose the Lions?
No. My brother was Barry. He was 8 years old when Barry Sanders.
Oh, okay. I forget that he's okay. All right. Because he's like
brothers.
closer. He's closer to me then, right?
Yes.
Age-wise, okay.
So he was a kid. Barry Sanders is his wheelhouse.
Okay, all right, that's fair. I actually thought he was older than you. So never mind.
Oh no, I'm the oldest. So he's younger than me, and Barry Sanders is his wheelhouse.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair then. Because then okay, I take back why he still should not have chosen. Reminder that Barry Sanders retired early because the team was so bad, and that's the second franchise Hall of Fame level star that retired early because the franchise was so bad. So maybe not the best pick, but regardless, yeah.
Yeah, he had a very cursed decision when he was a child.
Not a good one. Yeah.
To take up the Lions, the very cursed decision.
They were bad during his he was cool, but the team was terrible during most of those years. Why would you choose that team?
They were at best a wild card round.
Right.
They did make the NFC Championship game in 91 or 92 when they lost the Redskins. But other than that, yeah, those Wayne Fonch years, they were basically one and done.
Scott Mitchell and
Dave
let me tell you something about these just clowns.
Let me tell you something about these Lions fans, though. They lived vicariously through the Rams on Sunday. I think my brother was happier than I was. They love Matthew Stafford. These Lions fans love that guy. I mean, it is just, because, I follow Rams Twitter and all that. And there's all these, when they beat the 49ers to get to the Super Bowl, all these videos of these Lions fans in their Stafford jerseys.
Let them have it. They need something. They need something, man. Let them have it.
My brother may have been happier than me on Sunday. When he called, I'm telling you, he took up follow. He still roots for the Lions. He's still a Lions fan, but he took up the Rams this year because of Stafford, and he knows the ins. He knows the roster better than I do. He knows the moves. He's into it because these Lions fans just love Matthew Stafford. It's pretty crazy because a lot of times when a guy leaves your team, you're like, well, fuck that guy. I don't want him to have any success, but. It's they live vicariously through. That's the closest the Lions have gotten to anything.
Yeah, let them have it.
In any of these people's lives, they haven't had a title since Bobby Lane in the 50s. I mean, geez. Yeah, it's just a pathetic. And they get their ass kicked on Thanksgiving in front of the whole world every year.
Every year. Yeah, just get dismounted.
And then the whole national conversation is we have to get the Lions off of Thanksgiving.
They're a national embarrassment. They must go. We were ruining a holiday by putting them on.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's imagine being a Lions fan or a Browns fan or a Vikings fan. It's you have to like you just said, you have to just enjoy these things. And there's nothing worse than a whiny fucking sports fan who has seen success. Boston. There's nothing worse.
Not naming names, but Boston.
Yes.
The entire region of Boston. Yeah, I'm with you. Alrighty, so congratulations on the win. I will say this: we're not doing an ad read this week, but if you followed our advice, Joe, you won some money because I won some money following our advice. I don't know if
yeah,
you
what
did
props
those.
did you play?
So I played,
fun.
I did all halftime prop bets. I was like all in on the halftime stuff because I don't know anything about the football. So I was like, you know what? What I do know is about Eminem. And when there was the prop bet about what will Eminem have on his head. Will he have a do-rag, which he's not going to wear a do-rag to the Super Bowl halftime show. Will he have nothing, or will he have a hat or a hoodie? Now, that was interesting. They had hat and hoodie as the same one, because I was thinking, oh, man, I can't decide between hat and hoodie. And I go over to my bookie, and they have hat or hoodie on there. And I'm like, well, that's easy money. It's going to be one or the other. He had both. So Ching Ching won that one. The one that you and I were both on, will Snoop Dogg smoke a blunt? There's no way that they would let him smoke a blunt on the air. I was a little worried when video came out after the game of him very much ripping a blunt immediately before the halftime show, but that did not count. They paid it out, so I got paid on that one as well. I think you did too. And then will someone trip and fall on the stage? I was like, nah, man, they're not gonna be doing that much moving like to trip around on the stage. So I won that one as well. So got all three there. So
I played those same two. I played Snoop Dogg will not smoke a blunt because he would have to go into a business for himself because the NFL would never allow that. Like, I also played the will someone trip and fall, and I put no. That was like free money. I mean, no one's gonna trip and fall. I got a little nervous though because Mary J. Blige fell down on purpose as part of the act.
Oh, I did kind of wonder. I was looking at that and went, oh no. I said that's not a trip and fall. That's part of the act. Yeah. That's part of the act. And I was refreshing to make sure they gave me that because I was gonna call them on that one if they did count that. But I was luckily enough they did not. That did count as part of the show.
And TLB talked me into a third one. Will Mary J. Blige show cleavage? Yes.
Ooh,
so that was
okay.
That was a winner.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, she's absolutely going to show cleavage. I was like, all right, let's play it.
Yeah, I didn't know. I wasn't educated enough on that to play that one, but good call by TLB there. So
yeah. So yeah, that I didn't bet on the actual game either.
I just cleaned up on the halftime show.
Played the halftime props, and then
I couldn't believe the hat and hoodie thing. I was like, he's clearly wearing a hat or a hoodie, and they had him combined. I was like, easy money, man. So yeah.
Yeah, you could find some silly ones.
Do-rags? Like you have Eminem's gonna come out on a do-rag in the middle of the halftime show? Get out of here.
Yeah. They did put caps on them though. I don't know about you. They gave me a $25 max.
Nah, they did for me too because the hat and hoodie thing, I tried to slap like $100 on that. I was so confident on the hat and hoodie, and yeah, it was 25 max for me as well.
Yeah, but free money's free money. They were too easy. They're just hanging there waiting for you. Some of them were tricky though. We did get inside information in the Discord that they were going to open up with next episode.
Yeah.
So I did make a small play on that as well. But because who was that guy? Give him credit. The guy in the Discord who I can't remember who he was.
Let me see who that was.
But he knew somebody who saw the rehearsal and he gave us the inside information.
I know. It was great.
So
I forgot to do that one. I don't know why I didn't. I guess I didn't trust him enough. But
yeah.
Oh, I don't actually remember who gave it to us. So I apologize.
Yeah, I can't remember the guy's handle either. But maybe if he's in the chat room.
Yeah, take your bow because thank you.
Because, he said, listen, guys, I got the inside info. And then people were giving him shit. Like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, he had to show some proof that he knew the guy, right? I forget what he did, but and
then he produced the evidence.
He did. It's like, they called his bluff, and he said, here, motherfuckers, here's my evidence. And
he had the whole lineup. He had the surprise 50 Cent appearance and everything on there.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried desperately to make side bets with people I knew. That's 50 Cent.
Yeah, it didn't work.
But they know that I'm slimy, so they
because out of nowhere you're like, hey, you taking action on the next episode or what? And they're like, what are you calling?
Yeah.
Why are you calling me about this, Joe? Yeah, I'm just saying, just throwing it out there if you want,
I'm texting my old Jersey cronies. I'm like, hey, I have a feeling 50 Cent.
Got a real good feeling about the next episode.
What kind of odds will you give me on that? And they're like, nah, Lanza, you must know something. So I wasn't able to, So, but yeah, that's the Super Bowl. Hopefully I won't be waiting 22 more years. Hey man, we might get one next year. His team's staying together. So, we'll see, but, I won't come on here complaining though, like these Boston fans. That's a guarantee.
Yeah. You got a window of about 10 years, I think, before you can, complain again, but, you're allowed to complain about the Reds, but yeah, not the Rams for a little while. So,
yeah, I think I agree with that. I think you're right.
And then you don't have an NBA team, so you're fine. So. Root for the league.
Me and Dr. Jack Ramsey could complain about all the threes that have been.
I love Dr. Jack Ramsey, man. Oh, one of my favorite commentators growing up. Like that's how I knew I was like a basketball nerd. Is because like a game that would have Hubie Brown or Dr. Jack Ramsey, I was like, yeah, baby, let's go. Hubie still does it. He's getting real old. His voice is starting to go, but man, when Hubie's still on there, you still get just great stuff from Hubie Brown. Just an old school basketball dude. And yeah, that's what Jack Ramsey was too. I love those guys.
Did he die before the 3-point revolution?
He died in 2014, so right.
Oh, he was around for it.
It's just sorta. Yeah, it hadn't like fully exploded. Like the Warriors hadn't like broken the league quite yet. They were starting though. There was definitely more and more people taking them, but it wasn't the full on like Steph Curry has broken the record by like 400 threes type of year yet. Yeah. So he saw it happening in front of him, but I think he's probably okay with it.
Give me another one. George Karl then? Is he?
Yeah, George is still around.
Oh, I thought he was dead. Sorry,
no.
George.
Don't kill George Karl. He's still around. Although
Flip Saunders is
several NBA players probably would like George Karl to die.
But, that's for sure.
Yeah,
how about Flip Saunders? He's dead.
He is dead. Yes. Yeah, but Flip he died pretty recently. I think Flip saw the revolution.
Oh, he saw it.
I think he was coaching during it actually.
Lenny Wilkins, he can't be alive.
Man, why am I think he's alive. You're making me think if Lenny Wilkins. No, Lenny Wilkins is alive, right? Yeah. 84 years old. He's still kicking.
I could tell you he wasn't alive that last year on the bench with the Knicks.
That 2005 Knicks team. Well, could you blame him?
I think he literally fell asleep a couple times, right? Like
it was a bad time. Yeah, but thankfully the Knicks have figured it out, Joe. Though that was a long time ago, and the Knicks are on the right path. Oh wait, no, they're still a disaster.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a dead NBA coach who would have died in like right before the 3-point stuff happened, but for some reason I can't come up with one. Because Paul Westphal would have seen it. That was
he would have been. Yeah, he would have loved it.
Give me a good dead NBA coach.
A good dead NBA coach.
Let's someone who coached in like the 90s and died in like 99 or 2005 or something. I can't think of one. It's harder than it sounds. Right?
Jerry Sloan's a good one, but I think he died. He died not that long ago though. He died last year.
Don Nelson. Is Don Nelson?
Oh no, Don Nelson is alive. Joe, have you seen Don Nelson in 2022?
No.
My man's got he loves marijuana, man.
Oh, okay.
Loves it. Yes. You're
not talking about Donnie Nelson now, right?
No. I'm talking Don. I'm talking old man Don. Yeah.
The guy who played for the Celtics.
Yes,
right?
Yeah,
Don
that
Nelson.
one. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I didn't know he was alive either. Why do I think all these guys are dead?
I don't know. Yeah. Stan Albeck. I guess he died not that long ago. Would he be one you would consider?
How about Bill Fitch?
He just died this year. He died a couple months ago, I think. No, he died. He died this year. He died like a couple weeks ago, I think. Bill Fitch. Maybe like last week. yeah. That's the thing. Did you know that? I think at this point, still, only 2 NBA MVPs are dead, ever.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
Wilt and Kobe.
Nuts. And
both of them died young. Yeah, both of them died very, very young. Obviously, Kobe much younger than Wilt, but yeah, that's it. Still.
Yeah, Wilt probably would have kicked it by now. Well, maybe not. He could be alive. Yeah. Like, when was he born? When was Wilt born? He was born.
Chamberlain would have born. He'd be really. Well, Bill Russell's still kicking, but yeah,
that's true.
Wilt's led a very different life than Bill Russell, though, so it may have been tougher. True. He was born 1936, so he'd be really pushing it these days.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
and he would have definitely succumbed to some.
Yeah.
He died in 1999, so I don't know that he would have made it through another decade of his lifestyle. So,
Chuck Daly, is that our winner?
Oh, Chuck Daly, yeah, that's a good one. Great call on Chuck Daly.
That's got to be our winner.
Yeah, because he died in 2009. Yeah, so he would have, and definitely would not have liked it happening in front of him. He'd just been like, "What the hell's going on out there?"
Plus his coaching style on top.
Yeah,
of it.
That's what I mean. He'd just be like, "Get down there! What are you doing? Don't take those." God damn it! Get down low.
Post up, God damn it!
Yeah, you're 7'1". You're
Back
taking threes.
Basket.
Yeah, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Anyway, so we should talk about wrestling, I guess, at some point during this show, the Flagship Wrestling Podcast. Let's do it. Yeah, because, Joe, there was a little bit of news. Last week, we had such little stuff to talk about. We were pulling out Do You Remembers and let's talk about Halftime Heat or whatever. And we said, well, hey, sometimes wrestling isn't really crazy and weird and strange. And not every week there's just insane, groundbreaking stories happening. So we're going to have to talk about, random stuff. Well, this week, wrestling went back to being just crazy and insane and wild and weird and very, very strange. When the news came that Cody Rhodes, one of the founding fathers of AEW, would be leaving the company. Now, the timeline of this is very, very strange here. So Sean Ross Sapp, Fightful.com, first to report that Cody's contract was lapsing, and this was back first week of January. Basically, is like, hey, January's coming. He has still not signed a deal. He's on a handshake, agreement. Yada yada yada. And I think you and I both kind of thought, all right, this is just sort of a lot to do about nothing. This is just Cody wasn't there to sign this contract. He hadn't crossed the T's or dotted the I's or whatever, but it would be only a matter of time before he was going to sign, because it was just unfathomable at that time, a couple weeks ago, that, or a month or so ago, that Cody would be leaving AEW. It just seemed impossible at that time.
Just figured it was a formality.
And it felt like it was really early in the year. Like, crap, I haven't been. He hadn't been at shows for a little while.
Recall, he had COVID.
Exactly, right. So he wasn't there. It was more of a clerical error type of thing. He hasn't signed, but he'll sign it at some point. I think we were well in our rights to think that was just a formality. That was just a matter of time before Cody was going to sign on the dotted line. Well, as time kept going on.
Well, actually, I should correct this. We don't know if he had COVID, but he had the family medical whatever.
Right.
Somebody had COVID, probably.
For sure.
It's probably.
So then, obviously, as time went on, it was like, well, he's on a handshake deal, and we're like, all right, what's going on? Like, this is kind of a weird story. Like, what are we doing? Is this some sort of 3D, like, sort of, chess move work thing that's going on? And then this weekend, Dave Meltzer, obviously of the Wrestling Observer, added fuel to the fire when he said, hey, Cody has still not signed, and it doesn't look like he's going to sign. And it was just like, okay, this is really, really weird. And then I believe it was Tuesday, it came out and it became official that he's done. He is leaving All Elite Wrestling, and AEW tweeted it out, Tony Khan tweeted it out, Cody tweeted it out, Brandi tweeted it out, and it was official then. And then there was still a lot of weird, like, all right, what are we doing here? Is this some weird work or all this sort of stuff? Very quickly thereafter, it became obvious that this was not a work whatsoever. And I do want to state that as well. If you're listening to this and you still think this is a work or whatever, I can't say with 100% certainty it's not. I would say 99.9% sure that it's not a work. And if it was a work, if that 0.1% was true, I think it would erode so much public trust that I would not do it on any level whatsoever. I mean, we're way too far past that point to go back now and make this thing a work. You know what I mean? Like, I think that would be unfathomable to me that would happen.
I think it would be very ill-advised for, like, Tony Khan and official company statements to be participating as part of something like this if it were work.
Right, especially like now that like Cody handed off the the community stuff to Brody Lee's wife, Amanda, and she's tweeting out this is not a work. And then it was like Cody came back on Dynamite. It's like it comes out with the pyro and he goes, "I'm back, baby!" Like, it would have eroded so much public trust.
So much trust in the company.
Yeah, and they've done a really good job of doing that so far. I think they've.
And the thing is, there's no, someone asked me earlier this week that they were like, I'm trying to think who it was. Oh, it might have been Joel Abraham. He said, he said, Joe, you're usually a proponent of work me. You like to be worked, and you like why in this case do you think it'd be a bad idea for this particular thing to be a work? Well, I feel like it's a case-by-case basis. I would just get a really slimy feeling from this one if it turned out to be a work. And I don't think it's a work. I think there's 0% chance it's a work. But if it did come out that this was a work and it's a big angle, it's just, I think you just got to go by feel. In this instance, I think it would just feel very, like you're saying, there would be sort of it'd be hard to trust the company again on things. And this has been a company that's been very... they've used sort of that relationship between the promotion and the fans to their advantage in a lot of ways, whereas WWE they don't have that same kind of relationship with their fans. It's AEW has fostered that kind of relationship with the fans, where I feel like if this turned out to be a work, that would be a very slimy feeling breach of trust that would be very hard to come back from. And that to me is the difference between this situation and other situations where I have advocated for just work the fans. And being worked is fun and being worked is good. this just wouldn't be fun. What's fun about working?
Right. If he came out like this week on Dynamite again, like yeah, okay, cool. He comes out and laughs, and like the other problem too is you're invoking charities in this too. There's been talk about okay, what happens with this American Heart Association thing? What happens with the AEW heels? What happens with this community outreach stuff? There's that aspect of it, and then you also
forget the fans burning the trust with your own employees.
And that's what I was going to say. You also have the locker room tweeting stuff out, like. It would either have to be everybody's in the room and they go, all right, guys, we're going to work, everybody. So this doesn't leave here, but go out and tweet, thank you, Cody, or whatever. And, it would take such insane coordination. There's no way the whole locker room would be down with it. And somebody in the locker room would say, no, we're not doing this. Or you would have to say Cody knows and Tony knows, but the locker room doesn't know type of thing. And that erodes a ton of trust too. And that's happened in the history of wrestling. Like WCW did that with the Brian Pillman thing. WWF has done it many times over their history as well. It's just not a good idea to work the locker room. You don't want to lose the trust of those people. The fans, there's times and places to work the fans and do it where it's beneficial and it helps a story or progresses a story or whatever. There is no good reason really to work your own employees or work the locker room or whatever. So I don't see any reason why they would have done that. So I hate that we even had to spend that time on it, but there are still a few people that are like, there's a little too much smoke to the fire. And I'm like, there's a lot. No, there's way too much now for them to go back at this point.
Yeah.
Way too much.
Even the initial reporting by Sean Ross Sapp, I think we both said that we didn't think he was being worked by anybody. And I had no reason to believe that his information wasn't sound. Now, what we did say was, or I said it for sure. I don't remember what you said, but what I said for sure, and I think you agreed with me, is you absolutely leveraged that. And they did, because they ended up popping a rating that week because they advertised a big Cody announcement or something, right? So there's this story out there, whether they leaked it or not. I don't know. I don't think they leaked it, with the benefit of hindsight, but once it got out that Cody didn't have a contract, you absolutely should leverage that for business. And they did. And they did end up popping a rating that week. But, I never thought at any point of this, there was any kind of work at play or anything like that. I just thought, like we said,
leverage is different than work. And I think that's maybe...
Yeah, of course, because if you're gift wrapped a situation like that people are interested in, then there's no reason not to take advantage of it, any way you can to drum up interest in your television or a match or whatever.
Right. And that goes to, one of the more famous kind of work leverage things ever, the Montreal Screwjob or whatever, where, all that WWF did was leverage that and say, all right, fuck it, let's do it. Let's lean into this Mr. McMahon thing. Let's lean into Vince McMahon. Let's have, mentions to it all the time. And WCW also tried to kind of leverage it and lean into it and failed miserably at doing so. But like, that's another classic example of like leverage versus work. Like the work of if the Montreal Screwjob was a quote unquote work or whatever, it would have eroded so much trust for so many years and all those sort of guys, but it wasn't. And then instead they just kind of leverage it. It has a different feel to it than a straight up work does.
Yeah, for sure. And there's been a lot of people this week saying, oh, you guys have to take an L this week. I'm not taking an L on nothing. Who really thought that this guy would leave?
Right. I mean, okay. Yes. Were we quote unquote wrong about it? Maybe. Yeah, we were. But like, no, I'm taking the side that I had the logical thought on this situation.
Yeah, so was everyone else in the world.
Right. Nobody in the universe would have told you if we had a poll in December of 2021 and said, will Cody Rhodes leave AEW in the next month? I mean, who would say yes? If 1% would say yes.
If we had a poll when people knew he didn't have a contract,
right.
It'd be like 100%.
Yeah, if we had a poll last week, is Cody leaving AEW to join WWE? Last week, we would have probably had 4% of people say yes, just because they wanted to be different.
Yeah, so no, I'm not taking it. Listen, I am more than happy to be the butt of a joke or to be self-deprecating. I think everybody knows that. They've been listening for 10 years, okay? Not on this one, because I am not taking an L on this, because nobody thought that this guy was leaving 3 days ago, let alone a month ago, okay? So no, there will be no L's.
You can take your L and shove it up your ass. I'm not taking it.
Yeah, this one, I'm not taking this L, okay? Everyone and their mother thought this was a mere formality. The guy's got 2 different TV shows on the Turner networks. It's still bizarre that he's leaving, because what happens with the TV? What happens with like the corporate synergy there with the TV shows and the cross promotions?
Who knows?
What happens with the wrestling school, with the Nightmare Factory people?
All points I have in my notes. I have my notes here that we have to talk about these things because it's the ripple effects are insane here. Insane, the ripple effects.
Yeah, so it's like, for all of those reasons, it's like, they're going to figure out a way to get it done because it just doesn't make sense for him to leave. Now, I'm not trying to stomp on your format. So if you wanted to just take this thing,
no, in
a linear way, go ahead. Because I'm kind of all over the place. So
it's fine. So I kind of wanted to, go over, what we've heard, what we know, all that sort of stuff. So obviously, we know that Cody had not signed. The Wrestling Observer said that he had not signed. AEW comes out and they make the official announcement that he is leaving, that they're out of All Elite Wrestling. And then some stuff came little by little. Some other details coming over the next few days. We tried to get some details as well. We have a little bit that we can talk about here, some stuff that we were able to kind of surmise or figure out. But I think some very interesting details came out from Sports Illustrated, SI.com. Justin Barrasso, I think, had a very, very good one of the best pieces of this entire reporting because it was new information. A lot of people were just kind of repeating the same stuff or kind of making judgment calls on a lot of stuff. This was facts. There a lot of stuff that you got from Barrasso was like, this is happening because of this and type thing. So, quote, while Rhodes was never intended to overstay his welcome in the world title picture, one key factor that led to his exit was losing all responsibilities involving booking. That is a role where Tony Khan, who was head of creative, has taken full reign. Originally, Rhodes was part of that process. As great as Dusty Rhodes was as a performer, his contributions as a booker are integral to part of his legacy. For Rhodes, AEW represented another chance to pay homage to his father as a booker while also further cementing his own legacy. Losing that opportunity in AEW hurt Rhodes more than any loss he suffered in the ring. And I think that's an important last line there. Losing that opportunity to book hurt more than any other loss he suffered in the ring. Because I think there was a lot of people saying like, oh, he doesn't like being booked to do this, or he doesn't like being booked to do that. Well, we can talk about that in a little bit, because I think the people that are saying that don't really understand what Cody wanted out of AEW or what he really wanted out of. I think it's pretty clear what he wanted and what kind of motivated him. But I thought that last line really hit more than anything. Losing that opportunity to book hurt him more than any loss he suffered in the ring. What did you make of that when you read that from SI.com?
So two things. Number one, you really struggled with homage. You almost went homage.
I don't know why I did. I know homage, and I read it because I'm reading it as I know the word, but I was like, for some reason I stopped and saw that H and was like, oh God, what word is this? Yeah, it's tough.
That tripped you up. Second thing is, this is not news to our listeners. I mean, our listeners know that nobody had that Tony Khan has been the booker for years. I mean, our listeners know that. So that might be news to people. I think it's definitely news to a lot of people, because you would see such just utter bullshit and dumb takes like on Twitter, and even from people paid to do this, like who seem to think that like all of these other people had a hand in the booking. And how many times does Tony Khan have to stand behind a microphone and say, guys, I am the booker. I book the show. I make every decision. I am the booker. The show at the end of 2019 was a disaster. That was my wake-up call. We didn't have a show the next week. I had a come-to-Jesus moment. I am the booker. And yet people still think that all these other people had hands in the booking.
It's a committee, and they're all there. Oh, that's a Bucks. That must have been a Bucks segment there. You could tell that was the Bucks writing that segment. Or, oh, that was definitely a Cody segment. You could tell. I'm sure those guys obviously had some influence in what they did or whatever. But as we said, since that last show, since 2020 on, everything has been filtered through and ultimately decided by Tony Khan. If you're a listener to this show, you're a smart wrestling fan, and you knew that, and this isn't a surprise to you.
Yeah, that's not to say that people don't have input on their segments. Of course they do.
Of course they do, yeah.
Or their direction or anything else. But Tony Khan is the booker, and he's been the booker for a very long time. And I never got the sense that was Tony Khan just taking the heat off of everyone else, being a leader. You know what I mean? Because there's that aspect. Well, okay, well, I'm going to be the leader here, and I'm going to take the bullet and just say that I'm the booker to deflect all of the heat. No, he really is the booker. He's the booker, and he has been for a long time now. But I think that may have been eye-opening for people, that these other EVPs and these other people are not. There's no booking committee there. It's Tony Khan. Look, did Cody, was he put off by that? Did he want more power creatively? What star wrestler doesn't? I mean, I don't know whether that was or was not a factor. Barrasso says it was. We reached out. We didn't hear anything like that, but we also got very short comments, but it's I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it, because once you're a superstar wrestler, I think that comes into play very often. So it's not surprising to me if it is the case, and I could see that being a factor for sure. But I think it from other things that I've read, I think it's more so he wanted a certain look. What do all these things come down to? He wanted a certain amount of money, and Tony Khan didn't think he was worth that amount, and now here we are. I think it's more so that money can solve a lot of those issues, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. You might have issues with, where I've been placed at, or my stories, or the fact that I've lost creative power, that I've lost this, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. But if the check gets, you go, all right, and that's probably when all the speculation that people are going to make and all the speculation we're going to make on the show, it probably comes down to the fact that, okay, I have offer A and offer B. Offer A is for more money, but nothing else. And offer B is for less money and a few other things here and there. But like, you know what? Those other things aren't enough for me to want to take, X amount of less money. So I'm just going to take the money. Whereas if if he was still booking and he felt creatively fulfilled by booking or whatever, assuming that this SI, the Barrasso stuff is correct, that he felt more, I'm involved in creative, all that sort of stuff. I'm involved, yeah, I'll take, X amount less because I like that part of I mean, we all do that. Like, I do that in my job. There are I could probably get a higher paid job if I really wanted to, but there's aspects of my current job that I like more that I don't want to sacrifice just to get a few extra dollars, on my paycheck, where I go, you know what? Yeah, I'm sure I could get, a lot more doing X, and I have been offered, other things to do X for or whatever amount of money. But it's like, I don't know. I don't want to give this up. But there's certain things I can do at my job that I like, that I appreciate. So you weigh that. Everybody has to weigh that at the end of the day. But if those things that I really like at my current job got taken away and I wasn't able to do those, and then, this other company came back and said, hey, our offer still stands. Well, shit, yeah, of course I'm going to go do that other offer. It's for more money. You know what I mean? Like, if I've lost what I loved about job A and job B is giving me more money, then yeah, at the end of the day, of course I'm worrying about my family and paying my bills and all that sort of stuff. That's just normal human nature.
Here's why I don't think it was the straw that broke the camel's back, or the deciding factor, and why I think it just came down to money. Because the only place he can possibly go is WWE. There's nowhere else he can go. Because
I don't Control Your Narrative has a new TV deal coming though, Joe. So
yeah.
Let's.
But I've seen people be like, "Oh, he should go and run the NWA," or
yes, that would rule. But yeah,
come on. Can we get back to reality? I mean, it's like
at Billy's going to open that bank.
First of all, that's a potential legacy destroyer. Right now, his legacy is he's one of the most instrumental parts of the most successful American wrestling startup since fucking forever, and a promotion that is an unmitigated success, that has a legitimate slice of the market share, and he is without question one of the most vital pieces of building that, and is responsible for that. Why would he go to the NWA and risk destroying that? Because it's highly unlikely that why am I even wasting time on this? He's not going to the NWA. Okay, can we stop with this stuff?
That would still rule. That is my hope in the back of my mind, that he just shows up one day and Billy cut the check and but that's
listen, can he go there and work a program with Nick Aldis again? Maybe, but I hear they don't even get along. So that's the other. First of all, They
didn't really get along with Cody the first time. So yeah, I don't think that that's a possibility of coming back.
A lot of Cody's issues were Logano.
Oh, that's true. That is true.
And Logano's gone, but I don't think I'm pretty sure Cody and all this weren't even like best buds exactly during that whole thing. But the point here is that's a potential legacy destroyer. Oh well, you help get this thing off the ground. Now you go to this place, and if it doesn't grow, then you look like a geek. It looks like, oh, maybe Cody wasn't responsible for AEW. Maybe it was the Bucks and Kenny Omega and all these other people. And Cody had because look, no, the NWA didn't grow. So no, that's a terrible move.
Yeah, that would be a very bad idea to do that.
Yeah, there's only one place he can go. First of all, he's a superstar now. Okay, is the NWA going to pay him 7 figures per year to come to the NWA? No. So that's the other factor here. This is a guy who's going to get a 7-figure per year contract. There's only one place that can give him that. New Japan's not giving him that. They wouldn't give him that anyway. He didn't have that kind of cachet there. There's one place he can get that, and it's WWE. So my long-winded point here is if creative control and being a booker was the primary factor here, the only place he can go, he's not going to get any of that.
Right,
so
right.
You're not getting that where you're going anyway.
And I think that kind of speaks to what I was saying too, is that I don't know that that's a primary factor. I think it's probably one of many factors that may be. And I guess I'll get to this a little bit too, because that last line I thought was important, where he said more than any loss he suffered in the ring. And I saw a lot of people saying like, oh yeah, well he was sick of losing to this guy and losing to that guy and losing to this and do. I don't think that was a problem for Cody. I honestly, in conversations we have had literally with Cody, conversations we've had with other people that have been involved in AEW, people that he has wrestled and all that sort of stuff, is that Cody, I mean, that was one of the favorite aspects he had in that company, was building up the young guys, building up the young talent. I mean, literally running the training school, for God's sakes. Like, that is what he wanted, like, to do that sort of stuff. And I think the time when he felt, to me, like he enjoyed AEW the most, and he really felt like he belonged in that company, and really felt like he was liking what he was doing, was that TNT run, where every single week a new random challenger out from nowhere would come, and Cody would make him in a week, or try to make him in a week, and like, he made so many guys during that time. Ricky Starks is a great example of it. Eddie Kingston, a great example of that. I mean, eventually, Brody Lee became some of that thing as well, even though Brody Lee probably didn't need it as much as other guys, but like, the list was huge of guys that would come in, and Cody would try him out, and he was like the guy that if you'd go in there, you'd work with Cody, and then if you guys had a kick-ass match and it ruled and Cody said, yeah, let's do it, like, those guys got signed, and they signed multiple guys out of that TNT title thing. And to me, that felt like the thing that he wanted to do the most. And I don't know that, like, I'm not saying that they like weren't doing that anymore, or that he wasn't fulfilled in that or whatever, but it did feel like over the last 6 or 7 months that wasn't as much of an important factor in AEW. And instead they were more worried about signing Danielson, signing Punk, signing Cole, signing Keith Lee, getting guys that were now free, guys that were made men, and getting them into the company. So if that is an aspect that you love about the company, that we're discovering these diamonds in the rough, we're discovering people from the indies, we're discovering people that haven't been, on national TV before, if that's an aspect of the job that you love as well, and that's kind of slowly going away or not being as important, then yeah, that will kind of put another chink in the armor. And I think that's, to me, it's not one thing. It's not what, oh, we lost the booking, oh, we lost this, oh, we lost that. I just think, and again, this is pure speculation on my behalf, that like I said, the stuff that he maybe loved about AEW or loved about being a part of AEW, slowly but surely he stopped loving those aspects, and he just went, well, okay, if the money's better here than it is there, then why am I staying here? I'll just go there. And that's a totally justifiable decision, I think.
No, listen, I mean, I think it's a justifiable, the decision itself, which we're kind of overlooking, I think it's justifiable on both sides. If Cody thinks he's worth A, I don't have a problem with that. And if Tony Khan doesn't think thinks he's worth Y, I don't have a problem with that.
That's business. Yeah, that's business.
That's business. And then you can't come to a deal and you part ways. If Cody feels like, I am one of the key people responsible for this company being where it is today, and I want my bag. I want a raise. I want X amount of money because I deserve it. Because I found Ricky Starks. I got Eddie Kingston over. I got Darby Allin over. I got MJF over. I got Jade Cargill over. Okay, you go right down.
And none of those are wrong. And that's not false on Cody's end. None of that is false.
None of that's false. Cody did more to get more people over in that company than anybody. On top of being, by the way, a money-drawing star the whole time.
Right, which I don't think he hated. Again, like that's the thing. I don't think, at least in the conversations we've had with people, I don't think that's something he despised doing. There's a lot of people saying, well, I didn't like having to lose to MJF and losing to the... No, I don't think that... I think he loved that shit. He's Dusty's son, for God's sakes. Dusty loved nothing more than...
Let's pull back the curtain a little. This is a guy who came to us with names and said, what do you think of this guy, and this guy from the indies?
There you go. All right, I wasn't sure if we were going to say it, but yes, we had multiple times he would say, what about XYZ? And we would give him our thoughts on X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, X and Y appeared in AEW and got signed. So
some of them are there, and it's like, look, that's no secret. I mean, he told the world on a media call.
Oh, that's true. He did. Okay. All right. You're right. He did give us credit for Ricky Starks.
That pitched Ricky Starks to him. But this was not. But he, this is a guy who would come to us and ask us, "What do you think of this guy? This guy?" And we can't name some of them because some of them never got an opportunity. And at the end of the day, it's Tony Khan's decision who comes in and who doesn't. And we put people over who we know don't even like us because it's never about. We don't care about that. We put people over and said, "Yeah, we think that person would be great for this thing." And then we know for a fact that these people don't even like us, or at least me. It's me that has all the heat. I think.
One of the guys has heat with me, though. One of the guys that we did recommend does not like me at all. So,
but it's like, yeah, this idea that Cody didn't want to do jobs or was like, if we're still doing the Cody is selfish thing, just go away.
Stop.
You don't have a clue.
Go away.
You just how many? I only named a fraction of the people that he helps put over in that company. So again. If he comes to the table with all of that, and oh, by the way, throughout the entire process, throughout his entire time there, massive star, and he was a draw to the end. Mm-hmm. That right down to that last match against Sammy Guevara,
and behind the scenes, behind the scenes stuff too. You're just talking about the in-ring aspect of it. You know what I mean? And that's this is what I did in the ring. Add in also. I'm doing community stuff. I'm doing, our calls. I'm running our training school. I'm doing that. So, I mean, yeah, I totally justified to go to the table and say, hey, look, here's all I've done for you over the last 2 to 3 years. I want that back. Totally justified. Totally justified.
Yeah, and I think Tony Khan is justified in saying, well, I don't think you're worth that figure if that's how it went down. That's business.
That's, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's just how those things go. But and I don't think that makes either side wrong without knowing the particulars or knowing the numbers or anything. I don't even think any of that matters. You think you're worth that. I've been in negotiations with jobs, and I know it's not apples to apples. I think I'm worth X, and my boss thinks I'm worth whatever he thinks I'm worth, and then you negotiate. And sometimes you can't come to a deal, and you part ways. And his contract came up, and both sides fulfilled their ends of those bargains. Cody stuck around a little longer to
put
do business the right way and put Sammy Guevara over. Exactly. So, to the end, this guy was a draw, and he put people over. But, there's plenty of places where you can hear people, do shtick when it comes to Cody, and that's fine. Here, we're just going to tell you like it is. What'd he do his whole time there? He put people over, and he drew till the very end. And even people that were critical of the direction of his character in the final months, very often the hottest segments on the show was Cody Rhodes out there with a wink and a nudge, taking in those boos, the puppet master. Listen, I know some people didn't like it. That's fine. We all like what we like. But very often the hottest segments on the show. Same for Brandi, to be fair. That Brandi Lambert,
I know,
say
so
whatever
hot.
You want.
It was molten hot, yeah.
I don't care if you didn't like it. That's fine. You don't like Dan Lambert with misogynistic jokes, or you don't like Brandi doing black scent. More power to you. I'm not telling you have to like something, but what I'm telling you is that segment was the hottest segment on the show. It's undeniable. So even Brandi from that, and I couldn't care less about Brandi as a performer. Believe me. Okay, but so it's like, from that aspect, it's hard to criticize Cody for not wanting to do jobs. Where's your evidence of this? Because all the evidence points the other way, like the complete opposite direction. Darby from day one, they put it on Cody's shoulders to get Darby over with those series of matches they had. And Darby kept coming closer. Then they had the draw. Then it was like the fluke win. And then he beat him. And then, the same thing. MJF, he's the one that put MJF over. And MJF's the one who ensured that Cody can never challenge for the title. And then the TNT challenges. And then Jade Cargill. Someone who's not even in his division. It's like, so no, I can't take those discussions seriously. No.
So that's that. We did also get some stuff from Wade Keller as well, and this is from his podcast, PW Torch. He says, so I'll say this. It sounds mean, but nobody has anything nice to say about Brandi Rhodes and her disposition or popularity behind the scenes, and I'm not saying with any personal satisfaction or preference for her to be liked or not liked. I'm just telling you, when I talk to people, Brandi has not been seen as an asset on camera, in ring, or behind the scenes. And so that ended up being baggage with Cody because people like Cody, pretty universally like Cody. Even people who say bad things about Cody like Cody, if that makes sense. So
okay, so I talked to someone on the roster who responded, who saw the Wade Keller piece, and all this person would say was they basically didn't want to get into it, which I can understand. They really didn't want anything to do with the situation. But the one thing they wanted to say was, because they've seen some things going around, and the one thing they didn't like that bothered them was this idea that Cody had his own locker room and, was kind of like a recluse and just, like kind of like had this this big head and didn't want to be bothered mingling with the rest of the roster and whatnot. And this person stressed to me that, yes, Cody had his own locker room, but Cody was 1,000% accessible, willing to talk to talent, willing to help anybody. He just dressed away from everybody else. But this idea that he wasn't part of the locker room or part of the locker room culture, this wrestler I spoke to was adamant that that was total bullshit and actually wanted me to make sure I came on this show today to say it.
Yeah.
So I told the person I would. I said, okay, that's fair. I said, I appreciate it. I will put that out there. And as far as the stuff Keller wrote about Brandi Rhodes being disliked and everything, a bunch of wrestlers came to Brandi Rhodes' defense publicly.
Almost immediately as well when this article came, or this podcast came out, I should say.
And Nyla Rose, Red Velvet, there were a couple more. But that doesn't mean that Brandi wasn't disliked, because I'm sure there were people that liked her. I'm sure there were people that didn't like her. But this idea that she was universally disliked, I don't think that's true, because a bunch of people publicly now, the people who don't like her aren't going to publicly say something.
Right. Those people probably told Wade, and the people that did like her tweeted it out. So yeah, there's probably some
I'm
division.
not doubting
there.
Wade. I am 100% certain that Wade Keller spoke to people who told him that they can't stand Brandi Rhodes. 100% certain. But that's just but these kind of things are who did you talk to? That's what determines what answers you're going to get. If Wade Keller had called Nyla Rose and Red Velvet and some other people who are friendly, then his reporting would have been, you know what I mean? So it's like, but look, I don't have any doubts that Brandi Rhodes had trouble with people in the locker room. We've been hearing that for a long time. I will say that Cody is telling people privately that he's very hot about that aspect of the Keller report. Is that fair to say?
That is fair to say. I think more than anything that the idea that like the Brandi heat was a reason why they told Cody that they didn't want to come to, because I think there's a lot of people connecting those dots and saying that, when they got to the table there, Tony didn't really want to meet him on the money because he wanted to rid himself of Brandi. I'm seeing a lot, and I don't think it's that. I think there's no way that she was that much of a heat magnet that he was going to give equal money, but said, you know what? No, because Brandi's here and I want her out of here. So you got to go because she's such heat or whatever. Like, I don't think it's that aspect. And I think that's sort of what Cody and some other people are probably fighting back against, is that, yeah, maybe Brandi wasn't loved. Maybe not everybody loved Brandi, but like the idea that she was the make or break factor of this, that she was one of the most important factors in this. I think that's probably just making assumptions. And I don't think that's everything that we've heard was that was not the reason why this Cody deal did not happen. It wasn't a thing where they got to the table and said, well, you know what? I don't like Brandi, so you can hit the bricks, pal. Like that wasn't what happened at all.
Well, Cody was hot about the Brandi aspect of it.
Oh, for sure.
Really none of the rest, honestly. At least, in our conversation, it was just the Brandi aspect of it that he was hot about. So, that's his wife. I mean, I expect him to be.
Yeah, I don't really like when people talk a bunch of shit about my wife. I'd probably be like, hey, stop talking shit about my wife, man.
Yeah. So but from his standpoint, that's untrue. So it was untrue. But I mean, this isn't the first we've heard that Brandi has rubbed some people the wrong way. She's very divisive on the screen too. Yeah. She's just. There's people like that in life who just are very divisive. I think I'm one of. Honest to God, I think I'm one of those.
Joe, I believe you probably are one of those people that some people like you, Joe, and then some people do not like you, Joe. So yeah,
there's just some people who have the kind of personality where it's like oil and water with certain other kinds of personalities, and it just doesn't work. And I think she's one of those people. So I can totally see, as divisive as she is public facing, her being just as divisive behind the scenes. But I also think that, that there were, there's other things too. Like if you look on social media, like her baby shower and things, it's like loaded with talent from the company. Like, these are, so it's clear that it wasn't one of these deals where it's like the entire locker room couldn't, like you just said, where the entire locker room couldn't stand her. And Tony Khan was like, oh, well, we can eliminate this by getting rid of both of them. It's like
I don't think it's that. I really
That's
don't.
cutting off your nose to spite your face anyway.
Right.
This is a money-drawing top star. I'm not sure that any significant other could be that annoying. I mean, it's pro wrestling. And in any work environment, not everybody's going to get along. So, yeah, I don't know.
So, okay, so we know we know Cody's done. He is leaving AEW.
Yes.
You and I both agree the next step is WWE. It seems like the only logical next step.
There's nowhere else to go. Where else can he go?
A lot of people have reported that is the next step. And again, you're saying, either he is done with wrestling, which I don't see that as the case, or he's going to WWE.
Or he re-signs with AEW. But the reason I don't put a very high percentage on that is AEW did their whole goodbye, their public goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
They put out the statement. So to me, that reads as...
Right, they didn't have to say anything. They could have let the news go out, and they could have not said anything. And that, to me, would lead them to believe that they still want to go to the table, that door is still open. When they send out that tweet and they say, we wish, whatever, I don't know the exact wording there. When they send that statement out and say, Cody and Brandi, we thank them for their contributions in AEW and wish them the best, yada, 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 you're done now. You're done. That door has to close now.
We know that from sports.
Yeah.
There's a long time, member of a team, and he's a free agent, and they have a hard negotiation. They just can't come to terms. Once the team puts out that, we thank so-and-so for his 12 years of great play and dedication to the community, it's over. That means that you cannot, that one side has accepted, one or both sides have accepted, they cannot come to an agreement, and it's over. Because like you're saying, there'd be no reason to say anything if, from the AEW point of view, they thought there was still some room to negotiate. So, while there's no reason he can't sign with AEW tomorrow, if everybody has some amazing 180-degree change of heart, I don't see that happening at all, which means his only option is W. They're the only ones who can pay him. Okay? And I don't want to hear this stuff about him cutting promos on WWE when he's in the ring in AEW or all this and that. It's pro wrestling. And I'm sure a lot of what he said was rooted and based in truth, because he obviously left there with a lot of animosity and a lot, betting on himself, wanting to prove himself, all of those things. And he did all of that. So I'm not saying the promos were just a complete work, but at the same time, in AEW, the easiest and fastest way to get over with an AEW crowd is to bury WWE. And these guys know that. So, those crowds eat that up. I eat that stuff up. I love when wrestlers,
it's
promotion
the
on each other. It
great.
rules.
Also, it's pro wrestling, and a lot of people have done much, much, much worse things than cut promos or take a sledgehammer to a throne. I mean, people have been in litigation with the company and then re-sign with them a couple years later. You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. But this idea that it's like, I can't believe he would go back there. Do people forget that Cody, the Bucks, and Omega were like a pen stroke away from going there to begin with? Do people forget that already? Like, it was, do we sign with WWE or do we take a chance on this guy, this crazy guy who texts us
this
all
crazy
hours of
message
the night?
Board dork. Yeah.
Yeah. No disrespect. I mean,
it's the best thing ever. I'm a message board dork, so I love it. Yeah, are you kidding? This is the best thing ever.
We say that with reverence.
Yes,
but
as former message board dorks, or current message board dorks, it's just a little bit different. But yeah, no, in the best way possible, message board dork.
That was they were about to go there. Okay, so it's not like Cody is completely opposed to going back. He's not opposed at all. He almost went back 3 or 4 years ago, whatever it was. So why are people... Listen, when I woke up a couple days ago when the story broke, was I surprised that he was parting ways with AEW? Yes, I was stunned for all the reasons we already talked about. Was I surprised at all? that the next piece of the story was he's probably going to WWE. Not at all. That part didn't surprise me at all. Because where else is he going to go? And why wouldn't WWE want him? AEW has been stealing their people for 3 years. This is their chance to strike back. And this is one of the biggest gets you can, arguably the biggest get you can, like, who would be bigger than this? Maybe just the Bucks or Omega, right? At this point?
I would say, I mean, for that fan base, for the American, mainstream wrestling fan base, I would say, yeah, that other than
they're not getting Punk.
I was going to say, other than scooping Punk back up, I mean, Cody's the next best guy. I think the Bucks work for the AEW fan base. I don't know that, like, getting the Bucks, I mean, I guess getting the Bucks would.
I mean, in terms of WWE scoring a scalp.
Yeah, to me, Cody's like the biggest scalp that company could get, other than re-signing CM Punk.
And we'll leave Punk out of this because I think he's a completely different kind of animal.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so without leaving Punk out, I think Cody is the biggest scalp you can get.
Yeah. I mean, because the others were like Moxley was just there. Danielson was just there. Like it's Punk. So of course you could see why WWE would want him. And because from a perception standpoint, they finally won one, or they're finally stealing one, is a better way to put it. After Tony Khan stole Moxley and stole Bryan Danielson and stole CM Punk and, whoever, go right down the line. But those are the big ones, obviously. Now they get to fire back. So that aspect of the story, I was surprised he was leaving AEW. I was not surprised that the next move is potentially WWE, which, by the way, has not happened yet. I think that should be noted, too. I'm sure he has a list of demands, because he has that stroke now. He can have demands. I don't know how many he's going to get away with. It's still WWE, and they still don't like to give away too much power, unless you're Brock Lesnar. Okay? So, but I'm sure that, number one, 7-figure contract, that's a given. Number two, maybe he wants to protect himself with a modicum of creative control, or as much as he can get. Say he's not chasing around the 24/7 belt or whatever. I don't think they would do that. But
I was going to say, one of the most interesting aspects of this too, I think, is the WWE end of this, is that this now becomes if and when they sign Cody. I'm using if because it feels like a formality at this point, but hell, who knows what's going to happen by this next week as well. If and when they sign him, they can't fuck this up. You know what I mean? They have to. This has to be Vince's best work. This has to be Bruce's best work. They have to get everyone, because like the optics of signing Cody and then him just kind of toiling around in the mid card or doing bullshit or whatever, I mean, that's going to be a shining light to every other. I mean, that is going to be the best news in the world for Tony Khan and AEW.
Yes.
When they go back to that negotiating table and MJF's contract is up and they go, hey, look, you know what? We had Cody as a top guy. You see what they did with him. If you want to go do that, go ahead, but here's my offer. And like, you know what I mean? Like all those guys, your MJFs, your when Jericho comes back down the pike, and when all these other guys, if AEW wants to re-sign them, I mean, the best leverage that they can do is put up an image of Stardust, you know what I mean? And go, hey, well, that's what they did with Cody. So you can go knock yourself out, man.
They have to, if they sign Cody, they've got to push him to the moon.
He's got to be one of the biggest stars in the entire company.
That motherfucker got to beat Roman Reigns. Like, he has to be that echelon. He has to be, for all of the reasons you just said. And Cody knows that. He knows that. So you get the money. You make whatever, you get away with that, whatever demands you need to make. If that means, hey, look, let's finally settle this Dusty Rhodes thing. I want rights to this after I leave. Or I don't know what he wants, but I'm just throwing things out there. The Rhodes trademarks, or some level of creative control with some kind of veto power on certain ideas, or because he has that kind of leverage now. And you are absolutely right. WWE has to view him as a strategic acquisition, and they have to use him strategically. Because if they push him poorly, all of these other people are watching. All of them. You mentioned MJF, but you can go right down the line. Anybody in that company who's never been there. or even the ones that have been there.
Yeah, even the ones that have and are thinking about going back or getting an offer to go back.
Kenny Omega's got to keep his eyes on that. MJF, Young Bucks, whoever. Because if they bring Cody in and that Vince McMahon, Kevin Dunn ego takes over, well, he's their guy. We've got to make sure that we look dominant. And
yeah, they do that WCW shit with him. I mean, forget it.
Then why would, and it's going to make people think twice. But if he goes in there and they push him hard and he's working one of the main events of wrestling, I'm just throwing things out there. He's working one night main event of WrestleMania. He's in the main event of SummerSlam. He's working top of the card. He's making top guy money. He's getting pushed. He's, then that's what you want the other stars in AEW to say. Oh, okay, if I go over there, I can, they're treating the top stars of this company like they're truly top stars if we go there.
Right. The money's good, but I'll also be creatively fulfilled in a lot of ways too, because like we said, there's always that balance of, okay, yeah, maybe they offer me more money, but God, I don't want to be a dork. I really don't want to be Stardust or whatever. So you know what? I'll take X amount less money because I know that like I'll be more creatively fulfilled here and I'll be more fulfilled in my job or whatever. But if they're giving you more money and they're going to push you like a star, then yeah, of course, then it you get to that negotiating table and you say, hey, look, I can go there and be a megastar and they're going to pay me this. Match this offer right now. And Tony, if he's smart for some of these guys, would have to do that with some of these guys. I mean, the leverage game changes so much if they push Cody like a fucking megastar. And again, like you said, he knows that. He's not an idiot. He's not a dummy. He realizes they can't fuck me up. And there's a lot of people that are like, oh, he's going to be Stardust in a few weeks or whatever. And maybe he will. Maybe he will. Maybe WWE is going to fuck up Cody because they're capable in 2022 of fucking everything up. But they can't fuck this one. You know what I mean? Like, this is one where you just cannot do this because you are destroying your leverage moving forward. Now all you have to offer is more money. And now you're going to have to come to the table with just more money. Whereas if you push this guy like a star, you can come to the table with, all right, look, we're going to match their offer and it's WWE or hey, we'll go $1 million over, whatever the money is or whatever. Like, you bring so much more to the table if Cody is pushed as a star. If he's pushed as a geek, the only thing you have is we're WWE and here's money. You know what I mean? Like, it's just.
And if you're working on top, you make more money.
Right.
So they whether they want to push Cody or not, they have to.
They have to. They absolutely have to. They pretty much don't have a choice if they want to be better equipped for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years or whatever. Probably beyond Vince's. As long as AEW exists, if they want to be equipped to do these leverage deals and sign away their talent and take a few more strikes at them, they have to do this with Cody.
I mean, if they have their eyes on anybody over there thinking that they can be a big star for them, they have to push Cody. Mm-hmm. They have to.
And he knows that. And like you said, he knows that. And
this is their first test case. This is their first chance to do it. I mean, they haven't really had a jump at all. And the first jump that they, unless I'm forgetting something, no one has jumped in the opposite direction.
No, I mean, who was that dork? It was a dark dork, and I think he just went in NXT or whatever.
Well, no, I mean contracted wrestlers.
Yeah, no.
Who jumped from AEW to WWE. That has not happened yet.
It has not.
Cody is the first one. What kind of odds could you have gotten on that?
I would have. People ask me on these Q&As 1,000 times. People have asked, who's going to be the first guy that's going to leave AEW and join WWE? And I have never one time ever even thought about mentioning Cody's name in there. Ever once. Ever thought of it.
So this is literally their first test case, and it's a huge one. And the fact of the matter is they should want to push him because he's a big star. And he's going to come in with a ton of hype. And a lot of people are going to be curious as to how they use him. Now, this is a separate conversation. Am I confident that they're going to push him hard? I'm not.
I can't be confident about any.
You can't be confident about them doing anything intelligent or smart.
Right. Even if they think, and that's the other thing too, is I'm saying that when you come to the table, like, they have to think that they are going to push this guy. The problem though is in 2022 with Vince and Bruce and the power structure there, I don't know that they know how to push a guy. That's the thing. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, if they really truly wanted to get a guy over, they could do it. You know what I mean? They knew how to do it. They just sometimes didn't want to, or they were fucking around, or they had their own little confidence or whatever to do it. I I don't have that. The cream does not rise to the top anymore in that company. It's like, you look at guys like Big E. There is no way to fuck up a Big E, and they have fucked up a Big E multiple times. I mean, they have fucked up so many guys over the last. So that do I have that confidence? I don't. Like, I think that they might come to the table and say, hey, we have to hit a home run with Cody. We have to do it. I don't know that they can do that anymore, though. And that to me is the more interesting aspect of it. It would be less interesting if I knew that they just, hey, you know what? We know how to push this guy. Let's put the rocket back on him, and he's going to be a megastar or whatever. They could 20 years ago, they would have done that when they had a guy like this. They would have absolutely done it.
His best bet's to come in as a part-timer.
Yeah. Seriously. Yeah, to say I'll work 5 dates a year. They'll go, oh, goddamn, great. You know?
Like, that's who they push.
Yeah, because if he's on Raw every week, I mean, it'll take, 2 months for them to just make him a guy? I mean,
and that's the thing. Sometimes their idea of a push isn't a push.
Right. I'm totally confident that they think they will be doing the right thing with him, that they will have Bruce and Vince will sit at that table and say, oh, goddamn, Cody, here's what we're going to do for you, pal. And then they think, and they'll leave that room with the idea that Cody is going to be a star. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing? This isn't going to make me a star, man. Like,
and he'll be in some hamster wheel 50-50 feud with Drew McIntyre. And they'll come, and what will happen is he'll lose they'll destroy his aura because within a month or two, okay, he's just another guy, right? And then the aura is gone, and then no one's interested anymore. That's the smart bet of how it will play out, unless he comes in as a part-timer, because that's what they do with everybody. They don't care about anybody except Roman Reigns. That's it. The only person they care about. You know, that is a full-timer. Who else do they care about that's a full-timer? Roman Reigns. Good luck if you're anyone else. That's why nobody feels like a star. So they're being gift-wrapped one, and he's going to come in with an enormous amount of hype. And I'm more curious to see how they fuck it up and how quickly he loses his star aura and, just becomes another upper mid. He'll be Kevin Owens, just another upper mid-carder on the roster that nobody really cares about, right? No disrespect to Kevin Owens.
Right.
But I don't care about Kevin Owens. Why would I care?
No, yeah. Why do you think would it be more egregious if like Cody is like this giant megastar and they push the hell out of him and it's just like, you know what I mean? Like, would it be more weird if you're like, wait a minute, you guys do know how to do this? Like, what have you been doing then? Why are you not doing this?
Well, look, they know how to do it with Roman Reigns. They know how to do it with Brock Lesnar.
Right.
They just don't know how to do it with anybody. They are not interested in doing it with anybody else.
Yeah, I guess that's my curiosity. Are they interested in doing it with Cody?
They should be. They should be.
Do they know how to do it with Cody?
If they care at all about everybody in the AEW locker room watching it play out, they absolutely should treat him the same way and push him the same way. I mean, I'm just not confident that they will do that. That's all. They might just be happy enough knowing that they got him.
Mm-hmm. They took him away from AEW, and then they'll just not care.
And how many times historically have we had this conversation? And what do they do? They find a way to fuck it up. The ego gets in the way. It's just too tempting for Vince. And Kevin Dunn's always been a big Kevin Dunn, I think, takes a lot of shit from people that he probably shouldn't take. And I think he's kind of like the lightning rod for a lot of fans who really don't know what they're talking about in a lot of ways. Like, everything's Kevin Dunn's fault. Now Nick Khan is the new lightning rod. Like, there's a lot of things people blame Nick Khan for.
I do love those. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's been don't get me wrong. Kevin Dunn is responsible for a lot of dumb shit. Okay. But I also think there's a lot of things that he gets blamed for that have nothing to do with
the dumb shit still filters through Vince McMahon, who makes the final decision on the dumb shit.
Yeah. But Kevin Dunn was always someone in Vince's ear who was like, no, WCW can never get the edge over us. No, ECW can, you know what I mean? Like,
Dusty Rhodes. Yeah, we signed Dusty Rhodes. Yeah. We signed Ric Flair. Eventually they did it with Ric Flair, but it was.
So whether it's Kevin Dunn or someone else, I could totally see a scenario where someone's like, hey, look, maybe we should pump the brakes on this guy because then the perception is that the other guys are better. Because that's history.
Right.
And you can never ignore the history when it comes to this.
By the way, for people that weren't alive at this time or not following wrestling at this time, when they bought WCW and started this invasion, this was the most unfuck-upable story ever. if you weren't around at the time. People were like, this is the greatest story in the history of wrestling. This is the biggest layup, the easiest layup in wrestling. It's WCW versus WWF. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it took what? A week and a half? A week?
A month? Maybe at tops.
Maybe, for them to just completely light it on fire, piss on the fire, light it on fire again, and just fuck it. To the point where when the angle's finally done, it's like Stone Cold Steve Austin and Kurt Angle are the leaders of the Alliance. It's called the Alliance, for God's sake. You know, it's not even WCW versus WWE. I mean, it is in record time they fucked this up. And people might say, oh, yeah, it was the talent and all that sort of stuff. At the time, you didn't know about the Time Warner contracts. You didn't know all that. You just said there's no way they're going to fuck this up. They just bought their competition. Everybody for the last 20 years has been doing NWA versus WWF, WCW versus WWF, and now they're going to present that to you. Look at the buy rates of the first Invasion pay-per-view, if you don't believe me. People bought that pay-per-view thinking, holy shit, WWF versus WCW. It's finally happening. I can't wait. I'm going to buy it. And then look at the buy rates for the next pay-per-view after that, and then every other pay-per-view thereafter.
They made 1% of the money they could have made.
Yes.
I'm not even exaggerating.
No.
They made 1% of the money they could have made. And it was because they couldn't deal with, even though they now owned it.
It's their property. Their property.
It's yours, but they couldn't deal with WCW ever being perceived as having the upper hand. Even though they now owned it. It's yours. It doesn't matter. So that you can never discount that with the way Vince McMahon operates. You know, Rich, would it stun you if his first night in he loses to Roman Reigns?
Oh God, no.
They build the match. It pops a rating. It gets a ton of hype, but he gets pinned in the middle. Just like send a statement or something.
Right. Well, they get the moment. They get the wrestling moment of him coming out, and then I 100% I could buy Bruce Pritchard, Kevin Dunn, Vince McMahon thinking we can't let an AEW star come into our company and beat our top guy.
We're gonna put him in his place.
Right. We'll build him up and we'll break him down and build him up. You know?
Yeah.
In our vision. You know. Yeah. That's. I mean, it's unfathomable because it's such an easy layup. But no, this is totally their MO. Totally their MO.
You know, that wouldn't shock me at all.
No.
I mean, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm saying if it did, it wouldn't. Why would that surprise anyone? You know, it's not the same scale at all. But AJ Styles comes in the Royal Rumble, gets an enormous pop, which proves that. Now, look, it's a Royal Rumble crowd, so it's a little more of a hardcore crowd. But it proves that people knew who he was because at the time, the big discussion was, will people even know who AJ Styles is?
Right. Oh, he's been in Japan. Nobody will know who he is.
Yeah. So he gets the huge pop at the Royal Rumble. He does great in the Royal Rumble. Chris Jericho works his ass off to help him get over in the Royal Rumble. Remember that? And then the next night on Raw, he loses.
Mm-hmm. We talked about it. I go back to the show archives. I remember us talking about it. Saying, what are you doing?
And then we would have people say, oh, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. No, it is. It is. Okay? Because it's like, it's you can.
It's just dumb. It's not a big deal, but it's just fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like,
but we shouldn't. But the point is, they've conditioned us to think it's not a big deal.
Right.
Is my point. It is a big deal.
Right. It's fucking
like
dumb.
You have lightning in a bottle. Someone who hasn't been sullied by your fucking booking of shit, and you have a chance to like maybe rocket pack someone. Maybe he catches on. Maybe he doesn't. But the way they do things, you never find out. You never even get to find out. So it wouldn't stun me at all. But see, he's going to enter these negotiations knowing all of it. He knows better than anyone. It's why he left. So he's going to try to negotiate to shield himself from those things. And we'll see if he's able to do it. I find it hard to believe they'll handle it properly. And handling it properly is push him to the moon to send a statement to everybody else in that locker room. Think twice before you re-sign with Tony Khan. Because the grass might be greener here. Meaning a bigger pile of money. Because we can pay you more, and we'll use you as a top guy, you'll make more. That's the statement they need to send. And I am not, and it's so easy. And it's not like Cody is someone who it's like, you have to like grit your teeth to do it. He's a star.
Right. You have to try really hard and make it, you know, you lose your audience's trust because they're like, this guy stinks. This guy's not good. Why aren't you pushing him just to prove a point? You don't have to deal with Cody. It's Cody. Like, yeah, you just push him and have him win matches. It's not that hard.
It's not even like something that isn't plausible. Like, oh, we got to push this fucking guy. No, you know, this isn't, okay, if I don't know, who should we?
Jake Hager.
Maybe not even. Give me someone. Give me someone who's never been there before and is like
Okay.
a mid card person and would be a nice little get. But maybe
like Anthony Bowens. They signed Anthony Bowens.
They sign Anthony Bowens or Joey Janela or something, or and then it's like,
right. If Anthony Bowens beats Roman Reigns, that's trying pretty hard to try to.
Then we could have a real conversation about whether they should push him to the moon or not, just to send a message. Right. That's a real conversation. And one where you could say, well, I don't know, that might be pushing it. Cody, though, it's easy. He's Cody. And how about Cody? Okay, guy leaves. He quits. He makes his little list. We openly mock him on this show. The world openly mocks him. He says he's going to, and then what? 6 years later or whatever it is, now he's at the negotiating table with them and he has them by the balls. I mean,
he bet on himself and won for sure.
Guy fucking won. He did it.
Well I'll take it out. We could take some L's on that for sure.
Everyone who thought everyone openly mocked him in his list. Oh, you want to wrestle Shibata, Cody Rhodes, silly little Cody Rhodes, right? With all his little names on his list. And he goes out and becomes one of the biggest stars in the world. And now he has them by the balls at the negotiating table as the biggest chip in this war. And this is going to be a pivotal moment in this thing, how this all plays out.
It's you mentioned that, like, a pivotal moment in the war or whatever. And I think this is an important time to remind people that this is going to happen a lot of times. This is going to happen. It's going to continue to happen because that's what happens in wrestling wars. And it's fucking awesome. Like, you should want this. There's a whole generation of wrestling fans that aren't used to this stuff. And the idea of a guy leaving is like, oh, this is the end of this company. This company's never going to survive again. Might as well close up shop. Oh my God, the culture. Oh my God. This stuff happens in wrestling wars. It's a business. It's a wrestling business. And guys will go to the table and they will take more money and they will leave for one reason or another. And that's going to happen. And there's a whole generation of fans that never happened because there was just never an opportunity for it to happen.
Yeah.
TNA was never that much of a viable option. And most of the guys that would leave and go to TNA were just guys that WWE didn't want. Or, Christian is maybe one of the only guys that really truly left at quote unquote the peak of his powers and went to TNA of his own volition. A lot of the other guys were, whatever. You want Mick Foley, you can take Mick Foley. You want Booker T, take Booker T.
They're guys that didn't want anymore.
They released those guys and then they signed with TNA. Christian is maybe your only guy that was like a true quote unquote top guy in WWE that bounced and said, screw this. And even then he was like, IC level, joined TNA, and then obviously became world title level and all that sort of stuff.
He was the first one who wanted to go.
Right, who said, you know what, screw, I'm leaving and I'm going to join them.
Right.
And ended up coming back to WWE as a bigger star than he left, which is a great comparison for Cody here. But, like, that didn't happen during that era. But it happened all the fucking time in the 90s and all the time in the 80s and all the time in the 70s. I mean, that's just part of the game. This is part of the game. This is part of the wrestling business. And there's a lot of people that aren't used to it because you weren't alive during that time. You weren't watching during that time. You weren't following during that time. But this is part of it. It's fun. Enjoy this. This is really cool. This stuff is cool because AEW will come back the next time with another blow. And WWE will come back with another blow. And this stuff rules. It rules in the sense that, like, there'll be really fun stuff. We're talking about this. There's 89 people listening to this goddamn show right now. 89 people do not usually listen to the show, on a weekly basis live when we're doing this on
live stream.
Yeah, the live stream. Like, this is one of the highest live streams we've ever had, if not the highest live stream we've ever had. Like, everywhere is blowing up. People wanted us to do a show that day because they thought everybody wanted to listen to it. I'm sure we would have gotten 89 people that day too, that would have listened to us if we speculated wildly. We're doing it 2 days later and there's still 89 people. You know what I mean? Like, it makes it fun. This stuff is fun as hell, and embrace it and enjoy it and love it, because this is what makes this wrestling business so much fun. And now, like, Cody's gone, you know what I mean? Now there's a whole new set of stories for Cody to do in WWE. There's a whole new opening in AEW for someone to move up, and this stuff rules. Stagnation in wrestling stinks. It's garbage. It sucks. I want this. I want chaos. I want guys bouncing back and forth. I want guys moving. And more importantly, if you're a wrestler, this is the best thing in the world. Cody just got a huge raise. I don't know how much he's going to get from WWE, but I'm sure that man got a raise. I'm sure that man is doing much better than he was 3, 4, 5 months ago. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's the thing. The money is so much bigger now than it was during the first, during the WCW, WWF, war. The money is just, so much bigger than it was then. So that works into it too. And some guys are going to make jumps and fall on their face. Other people are going to make jumps and it's going to be the best move they ever made in their career. And that goes in both directions. And all of the jumps to this point have been from one side to the other. And now we finally have one in the opposite direction. And it's one of the biggest ones possible. Because, I mean, when you look at AEW and if let's leave Tony Khan out of this because he's obviously number one with a bullet. But when you look at the people responsible for the success of AEW and where they are today, there's Cody, there's Chris Jericho. I'd put in that category. I put them ahead of Moxley.
I do too.
I mean, not by much, but I put them ahead of Moxley. Moxley was very, very, very important. He's obviously top 5 as well. And then I guess you got to throw the Bucks and Omega in there if you're doing a top 5. But, Cody, in terms of putting people over and right from the start, like we talked about with Darby and MJF, ensuring, because that's the key. You had to get those people over. This promotion wouldn't have worked if it was just Cody, the Bucks, and Omega and wrestling each other over and over because nobody else got over. You had to get Darby over. You had to get MJF over. And Cody was instrumental in that. And Cody was a huge star in his own right when it all started up.
Absolutely. And in the company, I mean, we talk about the startup, and there's been a lot of like retconning of, Cody's not that important or whatever. We from day one have said
come on.
that Cody is, if he's not like, I don't know, like people always want to do a ranking of who's the most important, all that sort of stuff. I think there's a lot of equal parts that go into this, but I have always put Cody at least, Tony's, as you said, 1-1. He's, without Tony's money, nothing happens here. So he's 1-1. He's in a whole different category.
And you know what? To be fair, not even just, I know you didn't mean it this way, so I'm not coming at you with this, but it's not just his money, his creative vision.
Yeah. Oh, that too. Yeah. He's not just a money mark. He's not Dixie.
And he's made great business decisions, and his creative vision, his connections, his understanding of the wrestling business. Yeah. He, obviously it doesn't exist without Tony Khan. That's why you have to leave him out of it. You can't even, there's no point putting him in this conversation. But anyway, go ahead.
But I put Cody, and I've always put Cody, and go back and listen to the show. I mean, go look at find the receipts or whatever. I've always put Cody right there with at least equal to the Bucks or slightly under the Bucks of why AEW exists and why this whole thing exists. I mean, you can go back to the Ring of Honor stuff and how Ring of Honor's business goes up without Cody being the guy that left that company, being the guy that left it, because you had the Bucks who had grown kind of on their own, organically or whatever. And you have Kenny Omega, obviously, who grew in Japan and that sort of stuff, and then came. But you have Cody, and that's such a big aspect of Cody leaving that company and saying, hey, look, I want a better wrestling product than the one that is being offered to you fans right now. And I've been there, and I can tell you that, that we can do better. I mean, that was such an important thing, and people can retcon it and say, I was. Go back to 2018. Go back to 2017. It was so important. And when he hit the ground running after that list thing, when everybody was laughing at the list, and he hit the ground running and was doing your little indies and was working his ass off and checking the list over and over and doing Ring of Honor and doing all these different things. I mean, that when he legitimized himself to the indie fans, it was like, okay, like this is kind of cool. So you got a guy who's been there, who has decided, you know what? No, I want to make a better wrestling world for everybody, and he just so happens to be Dusty Rhodes' son or whatever. I mean, that legitimized them in such a different way. And then All In, I mean, he's the most important aspect of All In. I mean, go back to that All In show. Go. I was in the crowd there. I can tell you that Cody and Nick Aldis match was the hottest thing on that entire show, and people went absolutely nuts for that match. And yeah, I think you need him to make it. I mean, I think everybody. There's a lot of people that had to make everything work to make AEW exist or whatever, but I think Cody is just as important as all those other guys. I think the Bucks kind of cultivating their own sort of fan base, but Cody being that guy who left and came and wanted a better wrestling world for everybody. I mean, I truly do not believe AEW exists or exists in the form it is without Cody's impact.
Without his contributions, yeah. There's no doubt. And what's funny about this is while I would argue he's top 3, if I were to, I'd go Cody in no particular order, Cody, Jericho, and then either Moxley or Omega, I think. But no matter what way you put, Moxley, Omega, Cody, Jericho, and who's the one I'm missing? The Bucks. No matter what order you put the 5, I think those are your 5. this is what's funny. As instrumental as I believe Cody is to the success of AEW, and that's why I think he slapped a fat number on the table when he sat down with Tony Khan, I don't think they need him.
No, I think that generation is kind of past them. Yeah, we're and I've seen a lot of people kind of come to that conclusion this week that, okay, maybe we're in a new generation of AEW, and that's fine. And I think that's healthy for a company to realize, okay, this guy was essential to our company growing, but now in 2022 and beyond, we're fine.
And that's saying what I said at the top. He's still a draw. He drew to the very last match. But the thing about AEW is the only person on TV every single week prominently in a prominent spot on TV is right now is CM Punk. And that's because they're paying him what I can only assume is an exorbitant amount of money above and beyond everybody else on the roster, which may have been Cody's point of contention. He may have.
I'm sure it was. I'm positive that the Danielson and Punk contracts came up, and he said, "All right, look, these guys. I helped you build this thing. These guys, you just got off the. Yeah. I need more than those guys. What's Punk getting paid? I want $1 more. I'm not saying.
And again, I don't even
literally
blame
he did that, but no, he should say that. Hey, look, CM Punk's not doing conference calls. CM Punk's not doing community outreach. CM Punk's not doing this or doing that. CM Punk's not running your training school. I'm doing all that sort of stuff.
CM Punk wasn't here from day one getting people over.
Exactly.
CM Punk didn't draw any money for you the first 3 years of the company.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't blame him. And I don't blame Tony Khan for
Absolutely
saying,
no.
Too rich for my blood because, well, I don't think he's too rich for the Khan's blood. But they have the money. But he is running a business. That's the thing. Like, it's this isn't, like you said, this isn't a money mark situation where
I believe it or not, rich people are tend to be a little careful with their money, and that's why they're rich and they're not me and you. So
Chris Harrington's there for a reason. They have a
right.
Okay. So, and I don't blame Tony Khan for saying, well, this is where we part ways. Again, I don't blame either one of them, but I don't think they need Cody. I don't think they need Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega hasn't been on TV for months, and they just had their best ratings run until this week without Kenny Omega. That doesn't mean that these people aren't vital and important and could still be vital and important moving forward. But AEW, I think, CM Punk's the only guy on TV every week in a prominent role because of the money he's making. You want to get that return on your investment. It's fucking CM Punk, gone for 7 years and everything. I get it. Bryan Danielson's not on TV every week. Cody wasn't on TV every week. Omega wasn't on TV every week. The Bucks aren't on TV and wrestling every week. So AEW doesn't put everyone on TV. They give people. Jon Moxley went away for his personal issues. The company didn't fall apart and go down and go down. They're not overly reliant on any of these people. They're not. Punk wasn't there for the first 3 years. And they established themselves as the real deal without CM Punk. And again, I'm not downplaying the importance of any of these people. But I think what AEW has shown is that they're not reliant on any single one of them. Mm-hmm. So that's why I could totally understand why Tony Khan would sit down at that negotiation table and say, you know what, I'm going to have to let you walk. If he felt that the money was too much, or the demands were too much, or whatever the reasons were. Because I think they'll be fine without Cody. It doesn't mean you don't take Cody if you can get him. But I don't think, because I have seen some takes. Oh, this is a vital cog, and they're in trouble. No, they're not. I think you can remove anyone from that scenario. Mm-hmm. I really do.
Yeah, it's about having confidence in the roster that you have and having confidence in what you can build without that guy as well. I mean, it famously, WWF telling Bret Hart, we can't afford your contract anymore. And yeah, you're a champion and a top star, but if WWE wants to pay you, go there, go do that. And giving him that opportunity. Obviously things didn't end up, great in the end, but the idea was, hey, you know what? We can't afford you anymore. If they can afford you, go ahead, go, and the idea of we can lose Bret Hart. That's fine. We got Shawn Michaels. We got Steve Austin. We got Mick Foley. We got guys ready to go. And, we can't afford his contract anymore. So if he wants to go, he can go. And that's ultimate confidence. I mean, that in a lot of ways, and that's definitely what I think is happening with Tony and AEW. Less so to the extent of we can't afford you, but more of the extent of we could afford you, but I don't think that we need to be spending this amount of money on you. I think we can use these resources in other ways. And if this offer is available to you and they're going to sign you for this offer, I can't stop you from taking it. And I think you should probably go take it. And it seems it seems relatively amicable right now. I mean, obviously that we'll see in years and the weeks and the years and the months and whatever that follows. But like for right now, everyone's kind of saying the right things, that it was essentially just they got to the table, they couldn't agree to a deal.
Well, I will say this just to play devil's advocate. Tony Khan said all the right things about Big Swole until he felt like she stabbed him in the back.
Right.
I'm not taking a side on that,
Mm-hmm,
but it's very clear that Tony Khan felt that Swole did him wrong when he felt that they kind of had a handshake agreement to part ways publicly in an amicable way. And then he felt that she betrayed him. Again, I'm not taking any sides on that. I did audio on that a month ago. You can go listen to it behind the paywall if you want my fleshed out thoughts on that. But my point here is if, Tony, you never know what they're really thinking. And Cody had nothing but glowing and tremendous things to say about AEW to us. Nothing but, all the stuff you're seeing publicly.
He tweeted out a little bit earlier. Like someone was like, I think someone replied to, I forget what the article is from, but they said, I'm not going to watch AEW anymore now that Cody's not there. And he quote tweeted and said, no, still watch them. I still love what I built and I helped build or whatever. You should still watch them. Wrestling is great. Yada, yada. I'm paraphrasing here, but essentially without, needing to do it, said, no. Make sure you still watch. Don't stop watching them on my account. You should still watch them because wrestling is great, or so, essentially.
Yeah, but I mean,
we're one work shoot promo away from all that shit blowing up. You know what I mean? We're one.
Of course.
We're one. I was down there, and they, this the cons. They're a con man or whatever. You know what I mean? We're one of those promos away. Not saying that that's going to happen, but yeah, that's you know what I mean. Like it's fucking pro wrestling, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
Cody's leaving AEW.
Tony Khan. Yeah. So yeah, no.
Yeah, and we're one. Cody Rhodes beating up Robert Stone away from you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's wrestling, man. I don't know. It's fucking Cody Rhodes is leaving AEW. I mean, Jesus, it's wrestling. You never know what's next. So
the point here is everything publicly and privately so far has been nothing but amicable and. I still love those guys. We still love that guy. So, but again, that could change on a dime. Like it did with the Swole thing. It's Tony Khan would have never said, I cut Swole because she stinks if he didn't feel like that she betrayed him in some way. Whether he was right or wrong about feeling that he was betrayed.
Right. The clause came out. Yeah. He was nice. And then the clause came out and he said, all right, no, I'm scratching it now. So.
Yeah. Right. So, who knows if the same, sort of dynamic would hold here. This is obviously not a low level preliminary wrestler. This is not only a tippy top star, but also an executive. And that's another side of this that I don't think enough people have examined, but that's why we're here to do nearly the whole show on this. It's what are we almost 2 hours in here?
2 hours in. Yeah. We spent about 15 minutes talking, talking Rams or whatever, but yeah, you want to talk about the executive side? Cause we haven't even touched that yet.
How much sensitive information does he know?
There's gotta be an NDA. I have got to imagine there's an NDA that has to be signed,
but geez, okay. How many does he know salaries? Now, listen, I don't know the answers to any of these questions, but does he know salaries? Does he know contract lengths? Not just with wrestlers, but with business partners, with broadcast partners, with sponsors. What does he know? How much does he know? And would he be willing to share trade secrets if things get ugly? Are these fair questions or not? Are we on the air? The chat room's going to have to help me out. I cannot hear Rich. I have no idea if the chat room tells me they can hear me, I will fill the air while Rich does whatever it is he's doing. But I'm going to need a little help here. I don't want to keep talking if nobody can hear me. So I'm patiently waiting for the chat room to let me know. Okay, so the chat room can hear me. So I think that's another fair question. How much does Cody know? I could hear Rich mulling around in the background of his house here. He probably had to take a leak. How much does Cody know about the insider trade secrets of the company? And how much of that is he willing to share with his new employers? So
Sorry,
Rich,
I'm back. Sorry, I'm back.
All right, so basically what I said was, how much does he know? And I don't think that he's looking to stab Tony Khan in the back and share private business information with his new employers. But what if the claws do come out and Tony does say something he doesn't like? How much does Cody know? How, business dealings with sponsors, with networks, with
there's
lengths of contracts. How much does he know?
I would say, it's pretty clear that the no chat room. I like this one. Someone said that I joined Wrestling Inc. That I'm so sick of you, Joe. I'm out.
Yes,
I'm trying to Wrestling Inc. So that's we'll make that announcement at the end of the show that I'm leaving. But
will you have any on-air chemistry with Nick Houseman?
No, because I've met the guy 7 times and he never remembers me. So no, probably not. Every time, hey Nick, I'm like, oh Jesus, I met you like. We sat the same. We sat next to each other at All In. I was next to you the whole time.
Sticks the hand out. Hi, I'm Nick.
Yeah, it's like, oh Jesus Christ. Hi, I'm Rich. Yeah, I have to do it every time. But no. Even if Cody doesn't want to necessarily even if he doesn't do it inherently, hey guys, here's the dirt and here's this sort of stuff, there's no way that WWE doesn't leverage that in some way. There's no way that they don't say, hey Cody, I'm not saying it needs to be they sit him in a room and go, okay, what was the TV deal that TNT signed with AEW or whatever, but that stuff just might come out. There might just be an organic thing where that conversation happens, or like you said, if something happens and Tony says, you know what, I fired you because Brandi sucks and da-da-da-da-da or whatever, and Cody could say, all right, here's what the TV deal was, here's this sponsor thing, here's this, because I have no doubt in my mind, I have zero doubt in my mind that if you asked that Cody Rhodes knows what that TNT deal was, or what they were getting paid for TNT, or at least a rough estimate of what they were going to get paid for TNT.
I don't know if zero doubt. I don't know if he knows this. I honestly don't know how much he knows or what he does know. You think he knows that stuff?
I think he probably has a rough idea. I don't know if he knows the exact figure, but I think he probably knows. I would tend to think that he is probably in the know enough to know some of those things, to know at least some of the dealings, at least the contacts that they had at Turner, the numbers that were roughly discussed. This guy was a quote unquote executive vice president or whatever. Or
other networks they negotiated with.
Right. I think there's enough stuff there. Maybe he doesn't know, okay, well, we have this and this is when it expires and this was the exact dollar figure, but I think he could probably give you a ballpark and say, hey, we talked to this company, this company, this company, and here's the 5 guys we talked to at all these companies or whatever. I have no doubt about that. Or sponsor stuff. Or hell, this guy was working in Turner. He was a Turner property, more so than AEW. He was doing 2 different shows. He
still works for Turner.
Yeah, right. That's what I mean. There's from a television negotiation standpoint, this is a scalp in that sense too, where this is a guy that Turner, obviously the network themselves, the bigger network, it liked what they saw in Cody and thought enough to give him 2 additional television shows on their network. So yeah, when they're going to negotiations again, they have that guy. That's another bolt in their chamber for sure.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of layers to this, and then the training school, the Nightmare Factory, and
I do not understand that whatsoever, Joe. Can you explain that? Because there are people that are like, oh, he's still gonna. You can't still run the school. You can't do that.
Well, no, right? It's not AEW school. It's
I know, but you can't that can't be AEW's only pipeline then anymore. That has to stop. They have to right now be thinking, okay, what is our other pipeline? What is our other school?
You're right. I don't know if it's their only pipeline, but is their most prominent one.
Yes,
for sure. There are other, the Matt Seidel school. There's some other but that is their most prominent pipeline for sure.
It's not their quote unquote developmental territory, but it's the most prominent one that they've dealt with.
Well, can Cody, head up training somewhere and obviously and be impartial in terms of where that talent ends up? Obviously when he was with AEW, all of those kids are going to work dark and they're all going to work dark elevation because he's going to funnel them there. Right.
Sure.
But can he still do that and funnel? I know it's awkward, but can he still, and QT's in the mix too, and he still works there. So, who's to say QT can't still pump kids out and funnel them to AEW?
I think you still can. I know I locally, Seth Rollins runs a, quote unquote runs a school or whatever. Yeah. And half the guys, a lot of the guys don't go to WWE. Some guys do work indies here and there. I'm trying to think if any of them are in AEW right now that have come out of his school. I don't think so, but I could probably, rack my brain a little bit and think if anybody did or whatever. But I don't think inherently, if somebody from the Black and Brave got a contract, like, that they would say, no, you can't do that. You can't sign with AEW. They'd probably say, well, fuck yeah, go ahead, man. This is, this is why you paid me, so you get signed for a wrestling company. Go ahead. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, Booker T School is another good example. I mean,
they send people all over the place.
He definitely tries to funnel them to WWE, but they end up everywhere. I mean, so I don't know. Yeah, I agree. It's awkward though. And you have a bunch of people whose on-screen gimmicks is that they're Nightmare Factory students. That has to stop, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Lee Johnson and Brock Anderson, they were all proteges on screen of Arn Anderson and Cody. So, that's on-air stuff, and that, obviously isn't the important thing here. But they're little things, and it is interesting how the awkwardness now of the school and everything plays into this as well. It is interesting. And because you have QT and Cody, and they presumably will be working for the opposite companies, yet running the school. It's all very convoluted, and we'll have to see how it all shakes out. Should we do a little bit on Brandi here, or I mean, she wants to keep wrestling. It doesn't seem like, at least as of this show, that WWE is interested. I don't know. I guess we'll see how badly she wants to do. Does she want to keep wrestling bad enough to, head to the NWA and get in there with Camille?
That's what I mean. Yeah, be on the next Warrior Wrestling show facing Thunder Rosa. I mean,
or Impact Wrestling, which I'm sure would take her.
Oh yeah, anybody would take. Yeah, if she wants to continue wrestling. Her, so. Yeah, well, I just meant everybody besides. I was going to say everybody, but obviously AEW and WWE doesn't want her. But yeah, if she really wants to continue wrestling, there's more than enough outlets to do that. But yeah, that was a very weird aspect of this whole thing, is that Brandi, not at this time being signed by WWE, but still wants to be a part of the the quote unquote wrestling business in a wrestling capacity, which is just very strange thing. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what to make of her. And it's another factor as well. I mean, the Turner stuff is just, it blows my mind, because like and this is again why if you asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said no, there's no way. Even if Cody is annoyed and pissed off at AEW and hates the other EVPs and hates Tony and everybody hates Brandi, like, I don't know what they're getting paid for Rose to the Top or the Go Big Show, but I'm thinking, man, I'm kind of stuck here, right? Like, I can't let these things go. I can't let these properties go. But I guess they are, or they're not, or I don't know. You know what I mean?
That's
like, I don't know.
That's why I thought he wouldn't leave, because I figured Turner might even get involved
and say, Cody, man, I know you don't like him, but you sign this or you sign that,
or even pressure Khan to say, look, we have all these corporate,
right? Yeah, pay the guy the money. We have 2 shows, we have a whole season or whatever. We're not putting it. We got stuff in the can here,
or maybe chip in. I mean, I don't know. If I'm Khan, I say, all right, chip in. I want me to keep him around so bad. You pay 40% of his salary.
Yeah, but TNA did that back in the day with a lot of those big contracts. Remember?
Yeah. So I mean, but it's going to be weird if Cody Rhodes is, headlining SummerSlam against Roman Reigns, and during the picture-in-picture commercials, you've got Go Big Show,
right.
And
with WWE superstar Cody Rhodes. Yeah.
But to be fair, you have John Cena doing it. You have that situation with John Cena right now.
Yeah, true.
So, but it's just going to be weirder because he was such a big star there, and one of the building blocks and all of those things, which makes it a little different. But yeah, look, here's the thing. Like you said before, it's fun. It's fun.
This stuff's incredible. We just spent 2 hours just blindly speculating about why this guy left, what he's going to do next, what WWE's going to do, how WWE's going to book him, how AEW's going to respond. This stuff fucking rocks. This rules. This is so much better than us discussing boring, New Japan, or like, this is great. This stuff rules. This is
I'm incredible. Just glad that we never have to listen to or discuss whether Cody is trying to be a heel on purpose or not ever again.
It's over. It's over.
The most boring, dumb conversation of all time. And people would just, argue about that shit for days. It's good from that aspect of, you remove this incredibly divisive individual from the discourse, right? So he kind of gets a fresh
discourse.
reset.
Discourse is going to improve tenfold here with Cody and Brandi gone, both of them, honestly.
Oh yeah. Oh God, Brandi too. Yeah. I mean, people just lose their minds.
It made me do that rant a couple weeks ago when we had just incredible matches and people were like, that Brandi segment. Shut the fuck up about Brandi. I don't care. It was 10 minutes. It was 2 hours ago. I don't fucking care anymore. We just got done watching CM Punk versus MJF in front of a raucous crowd, and people are like, all right, that Brandi segment really rubbed me the wrong way. Shut up.
I don't know I don't know if I hate anything as much as people hate Brandi Rhodes.
I know.
I don't get it. Like, jeez. Oh my, it's crazy.
Once she's off the screen, I don't care. The Nightmare Collective stuff we buried. I thought it was terrible.
Oh, so bad.
But then when she was off the screen, it did. The problem was that a lot of other stuff in AEW wasn't that good then, so it was like a glaring thing. When she had the promo with Lambert, which again, like I'm kind of more on your end than everybody else.
You didn't like it. I liked it.
That's fine. I didn't fucking care about it because I was watching CM Punk and MJF
good point. Like,
have a 45-minute match. Like, it was incredible.
You just didn't care about it. You're like totally indifferent on it. It's like you didn't even have this hatred of it. I see what you're saying.
She comes onto the screen and it's like, there's 3 weeks of discourse about Brandi. Who cares?
Yeah, people lose their minds over Brandi Rhodes. It's crazy. And I mean, look, and here's the thing. Like, sometimes I truly do get it. Like, I'm like, okay, she doesn't rub me the wrong way the way she rubs other people, but I understand why she's rubbing people the wrong way. You know, it's like one of those scenarios. But then there's other times where I'm like, okay, you guys are just complaining to complain. It's like she's not, this isn't Satan in its purest form on the screen. I mean, a lot of the times, she actively added to things. I know people are screaming at their devices right now because some people but I think at times she truly added to things. There were other times where she was atrocious. Nightmare Collective was like the worst thing, one of the worst things the company ever did. And then there were other times where, like you, I was completely indifferent on her. But for some people, it was just, they just lose their fucking minds. So yeah, that aspect too, with her removed, you don't have to listen to that anymore either. So I guess that's a weird net positive.
Right. The discourse.
Standpoint.
Yeah. The discourse has improved immensely over the last, I mean, people will have to find a new person to dislike or new people that they say are ruining the company or whatever. But
we'll always have Dan Lambert because he's not going in.
That's true. That's true.
People lose their minds over Dan Lambert too, even though.
So everybody, I think everybody likes Paige, right? But everybody hates Dan Lambert.
Well, he
because he calls people nerds and they.
I don't want to even
get
into it. I don't want to get into it.
That's fine.
Like, people get worked into a shoot with Dan Lambert, and honestly, to me it's delicious. I fucking love it. I love the Dan Lambert complaints and how stupid people are. I get a kick out of it, but I guess he's the last remaining one left. I think where people are just like, they lose their minds. But in his case, see Brandi. Okay, right. See, with Brandi, I think whether she's trying to get under people's skin or not, people just fucking can't stand her. Lambert, it's by design, dummies. You're getting worked. He wants you to react the way you're reacting, and you all play right into his hands. That's why he gets the loudest reaction in every building he's in. Okay? That's what he's trying to do. That's the difference. But that's all I want to say. I don't want to go too far down the Lambert road.
I agree.
It's going to get myself in trouble, so I'm not going to go down the Lambert road. But anyway, so that's the Brandi piece of it. I don't know. What else is there left to say?
I think that's it. Yeah. I mean, I guess now it's all about the next step. What happens next? And I guess we'll find out. We'll see. I'm fascinated either way. Whatever that next step is. And I like we said, it's something that WWE cannot fuck up, that they shouldn't fuck up, that they need to not fuck up, that they probably will fuck up, but that'll be fascinating to see over the next couple of years. And I don't know. It's awesome. This stuff, get used to that. I think I'll conclude with get used to this. This will happen more times, and it's a part of a wrestling war. It's a part of the wrestling business. It's a healthy part of the wrestling business as well. This is when wrestling is healthy. When wrestling is not healthy, it's when it's stagnant and Dolph Ziggler is entering his 15th Royal Rumble or whatever the fuck. That's when the business stinks. That's when the business sucks. This is when the business is awesome. When guys are moving back and forth, making big money, jumping between two. Everybody needs to bring their A game. Everybody needs to bring their best booking. Everybody needs to do their best stuff. That is when wrestling rules. So I'm all in on it. I love it. It's just going to only increase my enjoyment of this dumb weird business. But let's get to some other stuff here. Before we do that, I do want to let you know that support for the Flagship Podcast is brought to you by Manscaped. The best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped, they offer precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. They recently launched the ultimate men's hygiene bundle, the Performance Package. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off plus free worldwide shipping with the code FLAGSHIP20 at manscaped.com. Again, if my math is correct, 4 million men, 8 million balls that have been improved by Manscaped. And the Performance Package 4.0 has arrived, and it is a game changer. In that package, you get the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, the Weird Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, which I love. Just used it a few minutes ago before the show started. Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold all of those goodies. It's incredible stuff here. Again, as I mentioned, that Weed Whacker, it's waterproof. All that stuff is waterproof. You can do it in the shower. You can do it wherever you need to go. The boxer briefs, solid boxer briefs, the ball deodorant, the Crop Reviver, all that stuff you're going to get in that Performance Package 4.0. Incredible stuff here. 20% off plus free shipping with the code FLAGSHIP20 at manscaped.com. Again, that's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use that code FLAGSHIP20 to unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Once again, that's FLAGSHIP20, the code at manscaped.com. 20% off plus free shipping.
So nobody's attributing the shitty Dynamite rating to Cody not being there, right? Please tell me nobody's doing that.
I haven't seen it, but probably somewhere.
I mean, I don't think one has to do with the other.
No.
But I was very busy. I didn't have a chance to absorb any discourse today.
So the best part about our new life in our post-take world, post-Twitter take world, I don't know, Joe, and I'm not sure, and I don't really care. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, the thing is, okay, so
maybe, probably, I don't know, I don't care.
The thing about it is, I have to keep an eye on Twitter because you have to.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Going on in wrestling. And also, people that there are people who need to get a hold of me who know how to get a hold of me on Twitter. Like, that's important too. Like, just maintaining contacts and things like that. So I see what's going on Twitter, most days, even though I don't participate, even though we don't participate in the discourse anymore, we still see what's going on. Just today, I had no chance to even see what was going on. So that's the only reason I ask. I haven't been on our Discord. I haven't really been on Twitter.
I think there was a lot of tongue-in-cheek stuff, but I don't know if anybody actually truly believes that, like, AEW fan Y was just like, well.
Hey, listen, it's good timing for Cody.
That's great. Oh, like I said, if he hasn't signed that deal already, I'm getting a printout of those that chart and going, you know what? Like, hey, Vince Jr., just so you know, pal, like, don't call him Vince Jr. That's not gonna be good for your deal. But say slide him over the paper. That's kind of weird. These came out and look at that rating, the worst rating they've had since December. I'm just saying, you want to add an extra 0 to that check there. That's that would be more than happy with me. And I'm.
So I do want to get this in quickly before we do our next topic. On the Thursday TV reviews earlier today, I was using the quarter hours from Brandon Thurston, of course, because he always has them first. And Brandon actually had an error that he corrected after the Thursday TV review ended. So the top quarter hour on the show, and so the top quarter hour in 18 to 49 was quarter hour 3 with the Danielson Moxley promo. Which, did you watch Dynamite yet? Or no?
Yeah, fucking awesome episode of Dynamite. Yeah. That is almost as perfect of a wrestling show as I could. If I was booking a wrestling show, it would look a lot like that Dynamite last week,
start to finish. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Great promo, great matches. Danielson and Moriarty. Oh my god. Oh, that's wrestling, man. That's the shit I love. If you want to know what a Rich Kratos wrestling show looks like, it was that Dynamite this week, pretty much.
I loved just about every segment on the show. The Mercedes Martinez, Jamie Hayter stuff, which has been bubbling for weeks. If you pay attention to like Jamie Hayter's little facial expression,
her eye roll. She's great eye roller. She's
so good. She'd be such like an annoying like girlfriend.
Oh yeah. Because you would say, "Hey, you want to go out to eat to blank?" And she'd go, ugh. And you go, "All right, well, what do you want to do?" You know what I mean? It's that look. She has that amazing look.
She's so good at that.
You're like, "All right, fine. Then you tell me. I've given you 3 options. You've done that to everyone. Where do you want to eat?" And she goes, "I don't know. You pick." I'm like, "I just did." Like it would be that sort of incredible stuff.
And then you starve to death and eat cereal at 10:30.
Right? Yeah. You guys are in a fight, and it's 9 o'clock, and now nobody's eating dinner because you guys just can't fucking decide where to go. So.
Yeah, but like her seething jealousy that like Britt brought someone else in because she couldn't get the job done, and then she's the one who attacks Martinez when Martinez is having second thoughts with the pipe. Like every segment on the show, I thought worked. But anyway, Brandon underreported the total viewership for that third quarter hour by 100,000 viewers. So not only was the Danielson Moxley promo number 1 quarter in 18 to 49. It was actually the number 1 quarter in total viewership too, even higher than quarter 1 with the lead in. So that looks like it was a big hit. So that I wanted to address because when I talked on the TV reviews, I had obviously very different information.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know a lot of people listen to the TV reviews and then come right to this live stream. So there you go. But the ratings stunk, obviously.
Overall. Oh yeah. No way to twist that. Bad rating.
But yeah, and I was just curious if anyone was trying to attribute that to the Cody news, which I think, if anything, would have helped the rating to see how.
I thought so too. Honestly, I thought it was a big part of why usually I don't catch Dynamite live. I'm usually watching it on DVR later that night or the next day or whatever. I was right there at 7 p.m. just thinking, are they going to do I was curious if they were going to do a promo package, if they were going to do some sort of thank you, Cody, for all you did. I didn't know what the hell they were going to do. And they just kind of did business as usual for the most part. So about 15, 20 minutes after, I think right after the Punk MJF stuff, I said, you know what, I'll watch the rest of this on DVR. I'll go do some other stuff and come back to the show or whatever. But I mean, I was right there at 7 thinking, all right, this is going to be very interesting to see how they react to this. Are they going to take him out of the promo package? I was curious about all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'd imagine I would have thought, like you said, I thought more people would have watched because of that, because it was such an interesting news story. So
I think now we know how AEW is going to handle big departures. Business as usual.
Mm-hmm.
Their name comes up when it's appropriate for their name to come up, and we're not going to pretend they don't exist. We're not going to throw them a going away party. But when Cody's name kind of had to come up because of storylines or what have you, his name came up. And that was that.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't know yet how they would handle something.
Right. They're talking about a dog collar match, and they have to see, well, Brody Lee was in a dog collar match, and oh, what an incredible, they said Cody Rhodes, and they mentioned him like 4 or 5 times during the show because he's an important part of their history, an important part of a lot of stuff that they did. So they mentioned him.
And he was on the show 2 weeks ago.
Right. So they mentioned him, but yeah, like you said, they didn't start the show with Tony Khan being like, I just want to thank Cody Rhodes for everything he did, and a promo package about leave the memories alone.
Which honestly, I thought they might. I didn't know how they were going to handle it.
I didn't know either. I didn't know. I thought I honestly, truly thought that there was going to be something at the beginning where they would say, or even even they wouldn't say it explicitly, that they might say, oh, well, you may have heard the news, but Cody Rhodes has departed AEW. We wish him the best, and we had great memories and all that sort of stuff. But we'll roll on here with AEW Dynamite. Again, no, business as usual for the most part. Brought him up when they had to bring him up. Didn't throw him a going away party like you said, and just kind of said, all right, next man up. Let's keep going.
And didn't force his name in there.
Yeah,
it came up when appropriate. And the further removed we get from him leaving, the less his name will come up. But I mean, the guy just was on the show 2 weeks ago, and his name. They didn't actively try to avoid saying the name or anything like that, which I didn't think that they would do. That's how WWE handles it. You leave WWE, you cease to exist. It's just you don't exist anymore. And I didn't think Tony Khan would be the kind of guy to take that tact because, again, I think he respects wrestling history and really, what's the point? What's the big deal? You can't say someone's name because they don't work there anymore.
No, I mean they've always said that AEW, and I love that about AEW, is they've always said wrestling is their universe.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, I mean, you saw it on that, on the Dynamite show. You got John Moxley cutting a promo about, some indie show in, I forget, some podunk town in Ohio or whatever. And it's like, it's just...
they, and occasionally wrestlers will talk about their WWE matches.
Right,
their
wrestling
WWE
is their universe. Yeah, they don't care where it was.
And people lose their minds. Oh, why are they bringing up WWE? So what? We're not stupid. We know these matches happened, And it's good that the whole wrestling universe is their universe. That's one of the things I really like about the company.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that they don't ignore anything. So
I hate to do a plug for the Patreon right now, but I watch wrestling as we're doing the show. I have I have a randomizer set up, and a December 19th, 1995 ECW Hardcore TV appeared.
Oh, you want to talk about the wheelhouse of my wheelhouse?
Yes, I wanted to. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I am watching what appears to be the greatest squash match I've ever seen in my life, with Taz absolutely fucking killing El Puerto Ricano.
Yeah, El Puerto Ricano.
God.
Yeah. No, yeah. No,
this man is dead. This man has died. He never wrestled again. He died, right?
Oh, no.
He's dead. He had to have died. I just watched this match. He's dead.
No. El Puerto Ricano was a tremendous job. That's Pablo Marquez.
Yes, I know Pablo Marquez. Yeah, he's getting it is incredible here. He is getting fucking mauled by Taz, and it rules so much.
Listen, guys like, he was perfect for that role. He would get killed by everybody, but yeah, I remember that Taz match you're talking about.
This Taz is so fucking cool at this time. People know, I grew up in 1998 Taz, which was still pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But you don't know Taz until you've watched this era of Taz, man.
Right when he came back from the broken neck,
yeah.
He became a human suplex machine.
He has just dropped this guy in his neck and punched him so many times. It's fucking great.
Yeah. This is the first December to Dismember show. What's the date on that you're watching?
This is December 19th. December 19th, 1995, yeah. That's
a December. That was the first December to Dismember event. Then WWE copied the name for their ECW pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. December to Dismember. They used the same name. But that was I'm trying to think. Is that when Steve Austin was in on his run?
Yeah. He just got done cutting a promo. They showed a bunch of, video packages of him versus Sandman and whatnot. So, yeah.
Well, they did Sandman, Steve Austin, and Mikey Whipwreck.
Mm-hmm.
Was a 3-way match. I think it was on that same show. So, no, El Puerto Ricano, he ruled. I mean, he would.
Yeah, he took that an awesome beating here. Incredible job by him.
Yeah, he would get fucked up in the opener of the arena shows a lot. He was a tremendous job. You can tell how good he was at his job by how much they used him. He never got a modicum of a push, but he was probably there right.
Oh, he was there for 4 or 5 years, I think, and he did a he was in WWF as wasn't he Babu? I think
he was in WWF. That I don't remember.
Yeah, I think he was Babu of Tiger Ali Singh fame.
Oh, yeah. You might be right about that.
Not problematic at all. Babu.
No.
He was a Puerto Rican guy.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I forgot Babu existed.
I guess he's from Ecuador. He's not even Puerto Rican. He's from Ecuador. But...
Well,
Puerto Rican, Ecuador, Indian, whatever. Who cares?
I can see why you were.
He is a man that is not white, so he could be anything else that you need him to be. So,
Rich, I don't think anyone's going to cancel you for thinking the guy called El Puerto Ricano
was not from Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rican.
Right.
I think you get a pass for that one. So,
Babu. Oh God, the Attitude Era, fucking horrible. Jesus Christ. All right. Yeah. Well, luckily WWE is great now. Let's talk about WWE Elimination Chamber show. The show from the lovely Jeddah Superdome this Saturday. I know you'll be watching. We'll all be watching it. I don't know, 8 a.m. or whatever the fuck it's going to be on. This is Rey Mysterio with Dominic versus The Miz. Joe, will you care about Dominic in this match?
Well,
Can't even
after
do
a
this.
lot of
Just don't even. Can I just list the matches and we can move on to our next topic here?
I've been thinking about this.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
And I've been thinking a lot about Dominic. I have to tell you.
Uh oh.
And I've come to.
I'm sitting down. What do we got?
Well, what's the match again? It's
Rey Mysterio with Dominic. Dominic's not even there. He's not in the match.
Right.
He's just accompanying his father, Rey Mysterio, to the match against The Miz with Maurice.
Right. The thing about that is, I still will never care about Dominic.
Fuck.
Ever.
Damn it.
So not even as a second. In an alternate universe, Ray almost came to AEW. Can you even picture Dominic in AEW? No. Let's be serious about this. Nightmare Factory training. They wouldn't have put him on TV as soon as WWE did. Could they have gotten something?
No,
listen,
I think
is he any worse than Brock Anderson? I mean, well, he is worse than.
Yeah,
Brock
he is worse than Brock Anderson. He's pretty terrible. No, he can't really do anything, and he looks like a lump of shit. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't.
Brock Anderson actually looked pretty okay.
Yeah, Brock has a semi look of a pro wrestler. Dominic does not. Yeah. Ish.
The Brock and Lee Johnson versus FTR match. Did you see that? It was either on Rampage.
It doesn't ring a bell, so I don't think I did.
It was last week. I think I forget what show it was on, but Brock looks like he's taking he's improving a little.
There you go. See?
I mean, look, it's hard. Look, these guys are literal rookies. You know what I mean? So it's like, and they're on national TV, and we all know Brock Anderson wouldn't be anywhere near national TV if his father wasn't who he was. It's the same scenario as Dominic. But I thought they had a neat little match against FTR. I will say that. But that's my preview.
Yeah, thank you so much for
previewing
Rey Mysterio versus The Miz. All right, so this is Ronda Rousey and Naomi versus Charlotte Flair and Sonya Deville. Now, the SmackDown was taped, and I think it's a bit of a spoiler, but I think the report is, and who knows if they're going to edit this out or change this or whatever, but the idea here is that Ronda Rousey will be fighting with one arm tied behind her back. Is that true?
Oh, wait, this is the Saudi show?
Yes.
They're flying Dominic to Saudi Arabia to stand in a corner?
Yes.
And Dominic's okay with that?
I guess the payday is good enough.
I don't mean from a moral standpoint. I mean from I really have to get on a plane and go to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, if I'm Dom, I'm just like, no, I'm good. I don't want to get on a plane and do a 15-hour plane ride or whatever the hell it is to get to Jeddah Superdome. I'm good.
Anyway, yes, Ronda is wrestling with a hand tied behind her back.
Great.
After the way she looked at the Royal Rumble, which was
she needs
not
both
great,
of those hands right now because
it's we tell stories, Rich.
Okay, well, great, awesome.
One hand tied behind her back while wearing a triple XL Gildan T-shirt. And,
what did the shirt say? I forget what it said.
I don't know what it's going to say.
What the hell did their shirt say? What did it say at the Rumble? It was great. It was just like
hers is going to say Hot Rod. It's going to be a triple XL, and with the fucking
baddest. It just said baddest in the laziest font ever.
Wasn't it? It wasn't even the Piper font.
No, it was nothing. It was literally she showed up with a shirt and said, I don't know, put baddest on it. And they went, all right, we'll put baddest on it. And then, she.
Yeah. Who are her opponent? It's
she is teaming with Naomi, and she's going to be facing Charlotte Flair and Sonya Deville.
Will Naomi have a Triple X Gildan T-shirt that glows in the dark?
Yes, she will. Yeah. And by the way, for people who are there was probably people that listened to that last segment and thought you were making a body shaming joke. You were making a Jeddah, Saudi Arabia joke because these women will be wearing gigantic T-shirts because they can't show any skin. Just in case somebody wanted to get mad about it, that is what the joke is. So
think of the progress, though, Rich. You're not thinking of the progress.
What was the term that they made everybody tweet out? What was the?
WWE
continues to
elicit change or something.
What was it? The No chat room will tell us, but yeah.
Box-like structure.
Elimination box-like structure. Yeah. I forget what it was, but yeah, the people will come with it. Yeah, 17 people had to tweet out WWE continues to be the The forefront of change at the forefront of change or something like that. Yeah, somebody will get it.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, what's the next match?
Speaking of forefront of change, we have an elimination chamber match with a bunch of women in it. Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Doudrop, Nikki Ash, and Alexa Bliss. This is for the Raw Women's Title match at WrestleMania. Joe, the optics of a match called the Elimination Chamber with a bunch of women wearing oversized T-shirts in the Jeddah Superdome is just...
too many T-shirts.
I'm just gonna let that go. WWE continues to influence the world.
Yes, they do. Yes, influence the world. Do we talk about Alexa Bliss complaining about her 2K rating now, or do we?
Was it her that, or it was Liv, right? Wasn't it? You only live once.
You're right. It was Gianna Daddio.
Yeah, she was upset about her 2K rating. Which, for people that are getting upset, like people are kind of making fun of her for that. And I will say, I am fine making fun of her for that because you're kind of a dork if you do that. She's in this video with Ronnie 2K, which Ronnie 2K fucking sucks too. Like one of the worst. Do you know the Ronnie 2K story or what he is or whatever?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So Ronnie 2K is like he's like the community manager for 2K. I forget what their term is or whatever. He's like the social media guy and all that sort of stuff. So he hosts these videos where he talks about, the guy's ratings and stuff like that and all that sort of stuff. The best part is because he's the forward face of like the 2K games. It's like people, me and my friend have this giant joke about it. Like if you look up his Twitter, it's like Ronnie being like, hey, we just pushed a new update. There's new My Team stuff. And people are like, Ronnie, servers suck. Fuck you. It's just like he gets everything.
Yeah.
Like that he is the man who's like sitting back there making the servers not work, like programming the game, like deciding that LeBron needs to be a 96 instead of a 97 or whatever. I mean, the man, his social media mentions have to be the absolute worst social media mentions in the universe. Yeah. It is incredible. They're just like, Ronnie, I tried to play and it disconnected. Fuck you. Kill yourself. Like, it's just ridiculous. And he's a goober too. Like he's such a fucking goober, and he plays in like the NBA Celebrity All-Star games as well. Like if you want to watch on Friday, Ronnie 2K will be out there playing and stuff. It's just like he's just like a ridiculous human being, and it's perfect that he would host this segment with only live once and tell her that she's the same rating as like these like part-timers or people that she can get upset about it but
I think she's the 77
which is a rough rate. But like here's the thing though about Liv and the ratings or whatever. I can't criticize her because multi-million-dollar athletes do the exact same thing every single year.
Yep.
So I can't hate on her for doing it because like I think it was either Kevin Durant or LeBron James, I forget who it was. They got rated like a 97 or something a couple years ago in one of the 2K games. And we're like, how many more points I got to average to get a 99 or whatever? You know what I mean? They're like, it's like, bro, you're like the highest guy in the game. Like, you're not a 99. Just chill. It's all right, Kevin Durant. Like, it's fine. Like, you don't have to worry about this. Every year, Madden guys, every year, 2K guys, it is. And these people make a lot more money and should care a lot less about this than they do. So I can't bury You Only Live Once on this. I can't.
Well, EA has with Madden, they have the 99 club.
Yeah.
Guys that have gotten the 99 rating in Madden. So they've kind of turned it into a thing too. So yeah, these guys wait for the ratings to come out and they pounce. So she's doing basically the same thing with her
Now,
2K.
What sucks is that a lot of the other guys do, like I said, Kevin Durant's upset that he got a 96 instead of a 99 or whatever. She got a 77, which is a
77.
a bit of a gut bite. I don't know if I'd invite the person on to tell her she gets a 77. You know what I mean?
Well, she was a 69 last year.
Well,
so
nice.
He's up from
that's nice
69.
That she improved, so.
Yeah, nice indeed. 69. But Liv Morgan.
Falls count anywhere in the Jeddah Superdome for Drew McIntyre and Madcap Moss.
The hottest feud in the territory.
A main event in any building, including but not the Jeddah Superdome, because we got some other main events on this building.
Yeah, I can't believe Madcap Moss is real. Like, I know he's been around for like 6 months.
I know.
Like, here's a guy who comes out in suspenders and he tells jokes.
This company is gonna fuck up Cody Rhodes so bad. You know what I mean?
He's
Stardust. You know what I mean? Like how can I take a betting line on how quickly he'll be Stardust? Or at least have to turn down Stardust and just say, I can't do. I'm not doing Stardust, Vince. I can't.
Madcap Moss's gimmick is like He's a happy-go-lucky guy at a speakeasy in 1932. Where did they come up with this stuff?
Who's used the term madcap?
Yeah, madcap. No one has used the term madcap since Prohibition. What?
It's so dumb to me because I did in the Yes Movement, patreon.com/voicesofwrestling, flagship patreon.com.
How is he real?
Abeyance. Remember when they were big on abeyance? Because the titles couldn't be vacant anymore, Joe. Vacant's old school. We need to be abeyance. This title is in abeyance. I looked it up, and abeyance reached, I believe, its peak as a word in 1883 or something like that. It was something ridiculous. Where I looked at like the Google, the Google Trends or whatever, or the Google Books or whatever, and abeyance, its peak it was like 1883 or something like that, and it had been going downward every year since then. Right? let me do that. Mad Google word search. Yeah, let me see. Madcap when the term madcap was at its best. Madcap. Why is his name Madcap?
I told you. He's like,
oh my god.
He's from the 1930s. Look how he's dressed. His jokes.
I mean, they're getting upset here. I'll look this up as we go on.
Today I learned that there's a Marvel villain named Madcap. There you go.
Oh, okay.
He's a Captain America villain, it looks like. Whatever. What's the next match?
That sounds awesome. All right, still trying to get Madcap here. Let's see. Okay, so from 1800 to 2019. You ready for that? All right, Madcap reached its peak in, it appears, 1897, Joe. But it has a bit of an increase here. 2016, it rose up again. So either there was an increase in books or novels about Prohibition, or Vincent Bruce are on the precipice here.
This word peaked in 1897.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. Well,
it reached its nadir, Joe, in 1952. Is when it decided to stop using it.
Oh, well,
lowest.
So 1930 wasn't a bad guess, I guess.
Not bad. Yeah, no. So I will tell you, it so it was big in 1897, dropped precipitously in the 1900s, had a big rise, 1926, huge rise for Madcap, and then slowly crawled to the bottom until the 1950s, and then now kind of slowly moving up, I'll say. So,
well, WWE continues to influence the world,
right, so that's clear.
Madcap is going to be on the tip of everyone's tongues as we move forward in the new millennial here.
SmackDown Tag Team titles: the Usos,
yes,
Jimmy and Jay Uso versus the Viking Raiders.
All right.
Becky Lynch Raw Women's title against Lita.
Yeah, this is a weird one because I don't have a take, honestly. I was going to try to force a take, but here's the thing. Rich, I don't give a shit.
Could not.
I can't give you a take.
Could not possibly care. Yeah.
I don't want to watch Lita wrestle. I don't know. A third T-shirt match. What else we got?
I'll just say, if you're going to talk mad shit about WWE going to Saudi Arabia, maybe don't eventually take the bag. I call you. So.
Oh, did Lita do that?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Oh, well.
It makes you kind of come across,
Yeah. Well.
But hey, go get that money. Get that money if you want. But
it's Lita. She got bills to pay too.
Yeah. Elimination Chamber, another Elimination Chamber, Joe. WWE Championship on the line here. We got Bobby Lashley defending his title against Brock Lesnar, Seth freaking Rollins, Austin Theory, Riddle, and AJ Styles.
I think there's odds on this on my bookie. Let me see.
I kind of feel like Brock's got to win this again, right? Like they can't have Brock lose ever, so he's gonna win this.
He's going to WrestleMania, Rich. Thank God he won. Listen,
if he won that Royal Rumble, thank God he got there. Yeah,
thank God he won the Royal Rumble, because otherwise Brock Lesnar wouldn't be going to WrestleMania. Surely they wouldn't have him on the show. He's minus 125. He's the odds-on favorite to.
I'd say it's smart money. I'd say it's smart money to bet on Brock Lesnar too.
Everyone else is a huge favorite on this show. So, Oh, we've got Cody Rhodes odds up. You want these?
Oh, let's go. Yeah, what are these?
Will Cody Rhodes wrestle at WrestleMania? How about this? Try to guess the odds and then see if you've got yourself some value.
I would say yes is, I don't know, like a minus 100 or so.
So even odds.
Yeah, right around there.
Now it's minus 260. Big favorite. No is plus 180. I think he'll wrestle at WrestleMania.
I think so.
Second Cody Rhodes prop. Cody Rhodes bring back Stardust at WrestleMania.
I don't think if it was at any time, I would say at WrestleMania, I don't think they'll do Stardust yet.
No is minus 400.
Okay,
so
yeah.
Yes is plus 250. I'm gonna bet that he is not going to be Stardust.
You know
what?
So.
Why wouldn't you know what? I'm not going to bet that because
it's also World Wrestling Entertainment. So.
Exactly. Can we really write off that as a possibility? Now he hates Stardust, right? He hates it.
I think so. Yeah.
So, but would he do it as a gag?
Would he cash a check and just say, fuck it, I don't really care. Yeah.
Goldberg in the wig.
Speaking of which, WWE Universal Championship. Roman Reigns defending the title against Bill Goldberg.
Yeah, Roman is an enormous favorite, minus 1250.
Yeah.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, there's a $25 cap on this. Let me see how much.
Right.
Well, hold on. Let me try to bet $100 on it and see if it lets me.
Because I think that there is, and I mean this earnestly, I don't think it's impossible that Brock comes out and costs Roman that match. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say that that's what I would do, but if you had a spare $20 that you wanted to maybe give it a whirl, I don't think it's impossible that could happen.
$20 on Goldberg, you mean?
Right.
Because a $20 bet on Roman pays $1.60.
Yeah, don't do that. That's a bad bet. Just don't even bet that. But I think if you have some free play, if you got some money to play with, I don't think it's impossible that Goldberg wins this match.
I don't know if this is capped because I put in $100 and it's telling me cancel or confirm, and I don't want to confirm that.
Yeah, don't do that.
But that's what I have to press because then it'll say, "Oh, your limit is blah blah." But I'm curious at the same time. Should I bet $100 on Roman Reigns here at my for an $8 payoff?
No,
Should I do this?
No, I don't do that.
Of course
it's not worth it.
All right, let me wipe it out. Yeah, I don't know. What else is on this show?
All right, so, that's it. That's the show.
As you can see, I'm very excited about.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You have your alarm set for Saturday morning at 9 a.m. to take in on the award-winning Peacock.
I'm sure we'll have an extensive review next week on this show.
God damn it.
Wait a minute. What's next? Oh man, I was hoping I'd be gone already, but I'm not.
No, you're here next week, pal. So.
I'm here next week.
We might have a big show next week, so I mean, we might not get to Elimination Chamber, so we'll see.
Why would we have a big show next week?
I think that could be our 10th anniversary show.
Oh, well, I'm glad I'm being filled in on these matters.
I'm just saying, I told you earlier on the show. I think we're getting to that point. I think that we have to do it.
Yeah, you're right. Well, we got to do it in like the next 3 weeks.
Exactly.
All right. Yeah.
Starrcade 91 is happening, by the way.
Is that what you want to do?
I do want to do Starrcade 91.
How many people remember that bit? Probably.
The people that do are going to love it. Yeah.
I guess we'll find out how much turnover we've had.
Yeah. I know. I'm watching it. I got it ready to go. I'm watching it, man. I got notes. I'm ready.
All right. Okay. Then I guess we're doing it.
Yeah,
Starrcade 91.
Starrcade 91. Yeah. We'll do the I think we had to do the Observer Awards. That was our first ever show, so we got to cover those again.
Oh, I see. I see.
I'm trying to line it up with the Observer Awards. Yeah, because I don't actually know when our first show was. So
it was around this time, sometime.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense because the awards are coming out this week. Yeah.
So, Observer Awards, Starrcade 91.
And just punt everything else?
I think so. Interview with Gabe Sapolsky about NFTs. I'm sure we could do it.
Hell yeah. I too would like to learn about NFTs.
I mean, I could ask him.
I've thought about becoming a crypto guy.
Oh, hey, I got the right guy for you.
I mean, because the crypto market crashed, so Joe Lanza is one to buy stocks on the day of the crash. Believe me, I have no qualms about that.
Yeah, that's apparently that crash is real enough that I have a member of the extended family who was big on it, who is now kind of saying, I gotta lay low here for a little bit because things are not going great.
Yeah, he's a big crypto guy, right?
Yeah,
big crypto guy.
Yeah.
You just have to see if you invest, you just got to forget that you invested. It's like anything.
That's
else.
why I have some money in it, and I don't even know what it's doing.
Don't even look at it.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah.
In like 10 years, I'll look at it and then just.
Yeah. So I was thinking about becoming a crypto guy.
Well, I will bring Mr. Gabe Sapolsky on then.
I'm thinking the wokes aren't going to like that one, Rich, but they've all canceled me anyway.
Right. What more could you do? So
yeah. So so if you're going to become a crypto guy, I mean, you may as well go all in and become an NFT guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't even know what an NFT is. I don't know what the fucking.
Well, I have the guy to explain it to you. I think.
What is it? The dancing bear or the dancing ape or whatever?
Bored. I believe they're bored apes.
Bored apes.
I understand why they're all apes.
Dancing bear a porn
is
site?
an entirely different thing. Yes. No.
I think Dancing Bear's a porn site. It's the gimmick where with the male strippers.
Very much so. Yes, we are not getting into Dancing Bears on next week's show. I can tell
they're
you
all
that.
it's always like a male stripper at a bachelorette party, and he goes down the line and gets head from every one of them. Isn't that the Dancing Bear gimmick?
You seem to know a lot about it, so you tell me, man.
No, I'm just. Well, maybe you don't know Dancing Bear.
I believe that is the case. Yeah, I see some of those thumbnails and go, no, thank you.
Those are wild.
I have perused one of those thumbnails. I think I've probably watched. I think I've curiously been like, what's going on here? And it's just like a lot of yelling and a lot of blowjobs. So I'm just kind of like, all right, I'm out of here.
The thing about the stripper at the party porn, the male stripper at a party. The kayfabe is tricky with that because the women don't look like porn stars.
They don't. So they look like normal women. I'm like, man, what party do you go to that like what bachelorette party? They're like, yeah, we're gonna get a stripper. We're all gonna suck his dick. And I'm like, whoa,
yeah. So I'm not like. Here's the thing. Like,
and then he might bang a few of us if that's fine with you guys. And I'm like, whoa, how do you approach that part of a bachelorette party? It's like, all right, so what we're gonna do is get drinks here because like I love this place and like it's a really cool place, and then we'll take a trolley to like this place. Oh, and then a male stripper, we're going to blow him, and then he's going to bang a few of us. It's like, whoa.
All I'm saying is...
Excuse me? How did it get to that point?
I don't know if those are works or shoots.
That's the
rare porn where I don't know if it's a work or a shoot. Because the women don't look like workers.
They're very normal-looking women, yeah.
They're just average-looking women. Like, every now and then, like, every fourth woman is clearly a worker. So I think what they do...
Oh, they bang the worker, but maybe some of the regulars get in on the...
Exactly.
Get in on the mouth action then, right?
Right. I think it's every like third or fourth woman's a worker, right? I think the rest are extras. But I think
Dancing Bear guy's not banging Gen Pop people. He's banging other porn stars, but he'll get a little hand job from a Gen Popper.
Yes, what I think is happening is he knows who the workers are.
Got it.
But I think the extras get caught. Some of them get caught up in the moment. Like, oh, I got this nice dong in my face. It's a porn shoot anyway. Devil may care. I'm going to give it a little lick. Right? I think that's what goes down.
Okay, all right.
I think that's what's happening. Because I could see, like, an extra, a woman who's not a worker, getting caught up in the action. The guy's hot. She's got a dong in her face. It's got a little of the whipped cream because he usually has the whipped cream container, too, with the gimmick. And she's like, you know what? Fuck it. You only live once. I'm going to give him a little sucky for a couple seconds here. And then the girl next to me is a worker. She'll bang, like he'll bend her over and bang her. But I'm a little turned on. You know, maybe she's thinking I'm a little turned on. Like this scene is hot. There's these hot guys with their dongs out.
Yeah, we're all a little drunk. You know, it's fun. We're at a club. Tipsy. Yeah.
This is kind of hot. And I think what happens is sometimes the extras just get caught up in the moment and they give it a little sucky. Because if you notice... Later on, go back and watch one of these. Listen, if you notice, every now and then, like the guy is dancing, he's doing. I'm doing the dance right now.
I'm doing the dancing fair right now. Do you have whipped cream? Do you have whipped cream nearby, Joe, that you can completely recreate this?
I don't have whipped cream, but you'll see the guy dancing, going down the line, and the women are all hooting and hollering, and he's like, he's mouth banging them all the way down the line. But every now and then, you'll see one would get a look on her face, and she's like, "No, hard pass." I think that's an extra. Like, but some of the and then he moves on to the next one, right? But I think some of the extras just get turned on and they get caught up in the moment. So that's my breakdown of those because those are like the
bear videos. Yeah,
those are like the only porns that work me. Like I can't figure out whether they're works or shoots a lot of the time, just because of the way that the women, that you can tell that they're not all pros. They're not all workers. So those are always fascinating to me. But the problem is, I end up like trying to analyze those, and then my jack session's over at that point. Because now
you're 15 minutes in, zooming in and being like, there's no way. Like,
yeah, I'm breaking them down like it's a Zapruder film and now I'm not concentrating on Jack in it, and that's a different part of my brain. So that's like, I come across those when I'm, doing, and then I always have to be like, no, I have to see if this one's a work or a shoot. And I always am like, is this woman a worker? She's not a worker. I wonder like if she has a man at home because she just licked this guy's dong, right? I think about these things. Like, how would you feel?
Well, that's what I mean. Like, you thought you're going to a normal bachelorette party, and then they're like, yeah, we're going to go to this one club. And you're like, all right, cool. And you're like, and there's going to be a stripper there. You're like, oh, that's kind of wild, but all right, sounds good. And then, like, yeah, like your friends are like sucking this dude's dick. You're going to be like, whoa, like, excuse me? Like, what the hell happened?
I got a worse scenario for you. Like, it's 2:30 a.m. Your wife's asleep. You're like, I'm going to watch a little porn. You come across one of these vids, and she's in the lineup.
Yeah, you're right.
Right? That could happen.
You're like, hey, then like, hey, what happened at Kelsey's bachelorette party? You're like, we just went to, a bar or, whatever. You're like, okay. Like,
I thought you and Tina were doing basket weaving for the bachelorette party. I'm watching porn, and you and Tina are licking dong. What the hell's going on here? Male stripper with a bear head. Come on. You don't even know what he looks like.
The bear head part. I forgot about the bear head.
Because they have the bear head. The fucking mascot head. The bear head.
It's a dancing bear. Right? Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, I mean, eventually they take it off when they get down to business.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, yeah, I think about that. I'm like, some of these women have to have like, I'll like enlarge and look for like engagement rings and wedding rings. I'm like, I'm rubbing my chin.
That is ridiculous. Yeah, you're right.
I'm trying to figure. Those videos are fascinating to me.
They are pretty good, yeah. Because
all these other porns that try to play it off like they're a shoot.
Oh yeah, every woman's like in incredible shape or really, really good shape, and like this stuff is like they look like normal women. They're wearing like normal clothes. They have normal body shapes and stuff. Like they're kind of weird about it, like you said. So yeah, I'm with you.
There's no other porn genre that can fool me except that one. Always gets me thinking. Because then I'm always like, all right, look, I'm not a porn fiend.
You're like, is that actually that man's stepmother? That is ridiculous that they're doing this.
Right. Like,
his 27-year-old hot stepmom wants to show him how to have sex. I don't know. It's weird, but like, all right. Like,
yeah, like, look, I'm not a porn fiend. I'm not a porn Bray Wyatt. But I watch a decent amount. Like, I'll jacket the porn now and then. And you look at these, like, the male stripper porns, and you never recognize any of those women. Like you're like, that woman has never been in a porn. And she just licked at that dude's dong. She gave him head for a solid 25 to 30 seconds. And it was like not porn head. It was like regular woman head. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I do. Yeah, I do.
Like,
I got you.
Like, she's clearly not a worker.
Yeah, the workers have a certain way that they do it.
Yes, they do. And you're lucky you marry a woman that picks up on those things. But that's neither here nor there. But the point here is, you can tell. And then I'm like, is this did she just get, is this something that okay, this video is from 2016. Has this woman been regretting this for 5 years? And is she desperately trying to get scrubbed from the internet because she got tipsy at what she thought was a bachelorette party, and she gave a male stripper head for 35 seconds? I think about this because you never see these women again in any other porns. And the strippers too. Those guys aren't porn guys. There's like 6 porn guys. We all know who they are. We've all seen them a million times. Okay? And the strippers in those scenes are like, they're never the usual porn guys either. But that's more plausible because if you're a male stripper, you're probably down for taking some money to do a porn, right? Like, it's all sex work. But the women, I'm convinced that there's some unpaid extras in there who just get caught up in the horniness of it all, and they end up sucking a dong. And that's terrifying to think about, right? Because these women, they could have very loyal husbands at home or something. I don't know. And now you can see why I can't jack it to those videos, because this is I'm walking you through
right, because you're up all night thinking about this.
Who can jack to any of this?
You're not supposed to get that introspective while you're doing that.
No, you absolutely are not. No. I'm gonna go watch some of those as soon as we're done.
I kind of feel like a lot of people are. Yeah, we should ask Pornhub if they'll sponsor us, because I think we just increased the Dancing Bear views on this night. But all right, we have 7 minutes left, and we can either punt all the topics we're going to talk about or do an overrun. What do you think?
We're never getting all these topics.
We're gonna have to punt a few of the topics. We got Roman Reigns having the greatest title reign ever. Warrior Wrestling, which I can talk about very briefly. We got Rev Pro, which you can talk about briefly. 205 Live, which we can talk about briefly, and then also, Naito and Okada are facing each other this weekend.
Let's squeeze that in and then do an overrun.
Okay,
so
let's do that.
I watched some of the tour. I crash watched some of the New Japan tour today. They took a gigantic break because of COVID again. It's a very depressing tour. But it's crazy that Okada is going to wrestle Naito for the IWGP title, and we nearly just punted it from the show. I mean, it's just crazy. I forgot that Tanahashi was wrestling Sonata the night before for the US title. There's a tag team title match with Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi versus Evil and Yujiro. But the one thing I did notice from what I've seen so far on the tour is it seems as though they're starting to push the Great Okan. He's had a lot of singles matches. He's wrestling the Young Lions on a lot of shows. He beat Satoshi Kojima in what was basically a squash on the show on, I want to say, February 7th or something like that. And if you notice, he has a singles match on the 19th against Hanma. And then he has a singles match on the 20th against Tenzan. So they're giving the Great Okan all of these singles matches, and he's running through these guys. So don't be surprised if the Great Okan comes trotting down that aisle to challenge the winner of this Okada-Naito match. And remember, he has a history with Naito. Now, I don't think they would beat Okada this quickly, but I mean, you never know with COVID New Japan what the fuck they're going to do. All I'm saying is, don't be surprised if Great Okan ends up being the next challenger, because it's a little conspicuous that he has all these singles matches, and he's obviously going to win both of these. So I don't know, Rich. I know you're super down on the New Japan.
I really haven't caught up. I've used this opportunity to kind of not watch New Japan for a while. I will probably check in on these shows, at least the main events. I mean, U.S. title, and definitely I can't completely skip an Okada Naito match. Like, that would be absurd. So I will do that. But I have used this last month or whatever to kind of say, you know what, I need a little bit of a break from New Japan and see how things go and see if things change or whatever, and see what we do. But I can't in good conscience miss. I can't miss Okada and Naito. So I will definitely be watching that match. But yeah, I don't know. I've been kind of out of sight, out of mind with New Japan for the last month, and I kind of been fine with that. I haven't really missed it.
Yeah, so junior tag titles are in a 4-way, Eagles and Tiger Mask, and you got Wato, Taguchi, Phantasma, Ishimori, and Desperado Kanemaru. That feels real lazy. I talked about the tag team title match, Evil and Yujiro getting a shot. I mean, they have a realistic chance of winning that. And Tanahashi, Sonata, I don't know. I don't have a great feel for that. Like I said, keep an eye on Okan. And then night 2, Minoru Suzuki, Toru Yano, the King of Pro Wrestling gimmick. Dog cage match. Okay. House of Torture, 6-man titles against Goto, Yo, and Yoshihashi. So House of Torture is paired up with like the Chaos underneath guys, and they have been on the whole tour, and might be even moving forward after this tour as well, depending how these title matches shake out. And yeah, Okada is wrestling Naito in a world title
right, one of the biggest matches that New Japan could put on. They're putting on February 20th in Okada's first defense of the.
I guess fuck it, they can't wait around forever for fans to come back.
I guess, yeah.
Just fucking, it's
just do their most important match and just throw it out
just
there.
Act like it's business as usual, and
I guess, yeah.
They're desperate. I mean, they're barely breaking even. You got to sell the tickets you can. It's talking about New Japan has been depressing. I don't know how Joel and Damon do it.
I don't know how they do it. Yeah.
They every week, and they give you fucking multiple hours of this shit.
Super J-Cast, by the way, Voice of Wrestling Podcast Network.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. For people who don't know, Joel and Damon. But I mean, I don't know how they do it. It's a really hard company to talk about right now. So those are the New Japan shows. I'll have to squeeze them in. Whether we do a normal show next week or not, I guess to be determined though.
I think it'd be fitting to talk about Okada and you know what I mean. I think that'd be fitting. Yeah.
Good point. Did I kill 7 minutes or
Yeah, we got 2 minutes left on the actual show itself. So for people that have never been on the live stream for an overrun, do not leave. Stay here. We will probably mute. We will be gone for a little bit. I will take a leak. Joe, are you going to take a leak as well?
I, sir, have to take a big dog dump. So
there you go. So what we'll do, thank you for all those details. So we'll do is we'll mute, thank God, and then don't leave because we will come back in a couple minutes and we will start the overrun. If you are listening on the free feed, on the normal podcast feed, that is it for the free flagship. That is all for our show. But if you want to listen to the overrun, $5 tier, patreon.com/voices of wrestling, flagshippatreon.com as well. That is where we'll talk about the death of 205 Live. That is where we'll talk about Roman Reigns having perhaps the greatest title reign in wrestling history. We'll talk about briefly Rev Pro and Warrior Wrestling as well, kind of wrap up all the other topics we had on this week's show. But again, that will be available only to people on the $5 tier, $5 and $10 tiers at patreon.com/voice wrestling. So this will be it for the free feed. If you're on the live stream listening right now, stay with us for a couple minutes. We'll both go away. We'll both do whatever we have to do, and we'll come back and we will start the overrun. So that's it for the free feed. Again, stay on. That's Joe Lanza. I'm Rich. We'll talk to you next time. Take care.
Calling all partners. Losing weight is better together with Nutrisystem's Partner Plan. In fact, people who diet together lose 20% more weight than dieting on their own. Get new premium meals with up to 30 grams of protein. They're big and filling and taste delicious. Plus, try our new restaurant faves that taste like your favorite restaurant, portioned with half the calories. Don't wait. You could win big cash during Nutrisystem's Better Together Partner Plan 100K giveaway. And maybe win the grand prize of $25,000. Just go to Nutrisystem.com/thin right now and get 50% off plus an extra $50 off your first month. You heard me right. Go to Nutrisystem.com/thin right now and get 50% off plus an extra $50 off. Don't wait. This partner plan offer will not last long. Just go to Nutrisystem.com/thin right now and get 50% off plus an extra $50 off. Go to Nutrisystem.com/thin.
See website for details on our 2-month subscription offer. No purchase necessary. Open only to U.S. residents over 21. Void where prohibited. Runs December 25 through April 4th, 2022. For official rules, visit Nutrisystem.com. Sponsored by Nutrisystem, Inc.